Yeah.
Yes, good morning. Welcome back. Sorry, there's been no live shows for 2 days. Apologies. Yesterday, I was at a wake, and the day before, I needed a day off. I'm not going to lie. I needed a day without looking at this screen and talking to characters like Lubo, trying to teach them about football. But we're back. We're back, Lubo. Good morning on what
That's
is
funny. That's
what
funny.
can only be described as an
You missed your vocation in the comedy store, I've got to tell you.
funny days. Lubo, good morning.
Morning.
Do you know what I like about you, Lubo? I'll tell you what I like about you. Everyone else I'm getting these messages in our group. I'm on the plane to Bilbao. Here I am at the airport. You're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it on the day of the game. I'm cool. I'm calm. When are you going? Why are you going so late? What's happening?
Well, my son could only take 2 days off work.
Mm.
And we booked a hotel, which was easy to, we took a punt on a hotel, which was easy to sell. We couldn't get, I mean, the flight, when the flights came, when I looked at flights after we won against Bodo, there were flights into Bilbao from Gatwick that were 1,600 each way for the two of us, 800, 3,200 euros. Which is about 2,600 quid, I think.
Yeah, about that.
2,700 pounds. I just thought, that's just ridiculous. Sports options came out. It was 745, including coach transfers. So we only found out Friday, Saturday, when they got their runway slots, because you got 53,000 people coming into Bilbao over a couple of days, which means a lot of flights. You've got planes that are going to be sitting on the runway, obviously, for 2 days, which are the United plane with all the players and family, etc., and Spurs as well. So there was only so many runways. So they're using. So we had a choice. We were going to find out whether we were going from Luton, Stansted, or Gatwick, and flying into Vitoria, Santander, or Bilbao, and the same going back. So we got an email back because initially Sports Options were saying it's a 7 o'clock flight out of Luton, and when the email came back, it's a 5 o'clock flight out of Luton.
Oh, nice. So what time? So you've got to be at Luton Airport for about 3 a.m.
3 a.m. check-in, yeah.
Oh, I hope it's worth it, Lou.
Oh my God. And then it's a 3 o'clock flight back. So we get back in what I suppose 4:15, because
hang
of the
on,
time.
a 3 a.m. flight back.
3 a.m. flight back.
So hang on, so Spurs win it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the game's going to end. Hang on, so it's
11 o'clock,
which is 9 there, right?
They'll hold the flight. They'll hold the flight. If the flight could take off at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Yeah, if everybody's celebrating, fingers crossed, then
love it.
Love it. If we lose the flight, we'll leave early, and if we don't, it will leave late. So.
Well, I was going to say, I hope they've got some beer on that flight for the way home for everybody if Spurs have one. I've put a poll in the chat today, everybody. The poll is quite simple. You got 4 options. I've simply asked how you're feeling. I'll tell you what. I wish I'd said how are you feeling, not how you feeling, like somebody who doesn't know grammar. I've said how are you feeling, and the answers are excited, nervous, scared, or meh. So meh, scared, nervous, excited. At the moment, nervous is winning and scared is bottom. If I gave you those 4 words, are you nervous, excited, scared, or meh?
Excited.
Excited?
We're in a European final. Why shouldn't I be excited? Seriously. I've got no control over what's going to happen on the pitch. I may as well enjoy it.
That's what I thought all season.
Absolutely. I've been there when we lost in 74, and I was there in 72 and 84 when we won. So I'm looking forward to this, And it is a pig. I remember sitting on the coach outside the Feyenoord's ground in 74, listening to the celebrations going on. And you feel sick, you know, and we had a perfect goal disallowed. We were level going into the second leg at 2-2. Chris McGrath had a perfect goal disallowed for offside in the first half. Then it all went off at half time again. Then it went off again during the second half. When I ended up being pushed downstairs by police and finding myself halfway down, facing 3 Dutch guys with machetes who had cut their way through walked up a disused staircase, cut through fencing, and I'm faced with these 3 lunatics with machetes, me and this other kid. So the back wielding coppers, and legged it back up the stairs, and ended up putting my scarf inside my top, and ended up watching the last 20 minutes with the Dutch fans.
And you're here to tell the story of the 3 machete wielding nutters.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good. So that was gone a very different way.
That was my first. World War I, Lee. That was my first experience of a UEFA final. So let's hope tomorrow's a bit quieter than that.
Yeah. Big up to Chris, who got the boat over yesterday. I mean, well done, Chris. I loved the play-by-play diary of your itinerary yesterday. But well done for getting to Bilbao. And I know Johnny's there already, and Stell would be there by now, wouldn't he? He was flying yesterday, and Perchy flew last night. So big up to everyone who has gone out there, and especially all you lot with tickets. Look, as far as it goes, it's a really strange one, isn't it? Because it's been such a fragmented season, hasn't it? Because the Premier League's just been awful, but with like the League Cup semi-final run in between, and then the Europa League run as well. So it's been very stop-start, and it feels like we've not been able to get into any sort of party mode to build up to it because it's been very stop-start. But the crazy thing is, Lubo, no matter Levy in, Levy out, Enoch in, Ange in, Ange out, we're 90 minutes from salvaging we're 90 minutes from creating history. That history is either going to be brilliant history or god-awful history. And I don't think I've ever in my time of being a Spurs fan seen a game, we can talk about the Champions League final, but a game that's got so much riding on it as this one. You've been a bit longer than me. Can you think of one that's got more significance? Because at least when we're in the Champions League final, we'd still qualified for the Champions League through the Premier League. So we knew we had it. But this is different, right? This will be another year without Champions League, another year without Europe, our worst ever Premier League season. This is so knife edge, right?
I think this, for me, qualifying for the Champions League this way is so much better than finishing 4th.
Sure.
I mean, go and ask any sportsman, about 4th place, and they'll turn around and say 4th is nowhere. It's about winning. So for me, if we win it, it'd be fantastic, But yeah, it's a strange situation because you look at the teams that won trophies through the years.
Yeah,
we've never been 17th in the table when we've won a trophy. I'm sure there's been times, I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure there's been 1 or 2 occasions where we've been mid-table. But I don't know. It's one of those. It'll either be a complete disaster this season, or the best season for many, many years.
It's crazy.
So it is, and this sort of ties in with the chaos that is Angeball, because it is. It's just completely. It's just nuts, isn't it? The whole thing's nuts. The whole club's been nuts.
Because come UK time tomorrow, come 10 o'clock, 10:30, whenever, obviously penalties, extra time, whatever. It's either going to be a celebratory night with a touch of like thank God that's over, and oh my God, we salvaged it, or the inquests are massively going to and unfortunately, as football fans, that's how it is, right, Lubo? There isn't going to be a middle ground. If we lose that final tomorrow, for me, there's no, oh, well, we got to a final. It's going to be, right, now the manager has to go. New Paratici's in. Who's the new manager? Let's start building a team for next year. Is that harsh of me, or is that just the reality of tomorrow night?
No, I've seen many questions asked on the social media in the last week or two, saying, "Do you keep Ange if we win the trophy?"
Yeah.
And the best answer I got back was not I got back that I read. Best reply was, if you win this competition, you're then looking to move on to the next, take the team forward, move it on to the next level. Do you think Ange can move us on to the next level? Well, hey, if he's taken us from 5th to 17th in the league, we've gone into a Europa League where beginning of the season you would have expected Spurs to have got into the back end of the tournament, purely because they finished 5th in the Premier League. Premier League is one of the strongest leagues in Europe, and as I've said all along, we are we're one of 5 or 6 clubs that could win it. So would you be surprised if we reach the final? The answer is, if you're looking back to August, then the answer is no. You would half expect us to be in there. So for me, people are saying, "Oh, it's been an easy run through," but has it? We're 17th in the league. Compared Bilbao.
Yeah, it has. I'll argue it has been an easy run.
All these teams, all third, fifth. So, but does it actually matter?
No. Hang on. But there's a difference between saying it and applying loads of context to it. I'm just saying, from the run we've had, I fully expect us to be in this final. From the run we've had,
yeah,
right. The fact that the best team we're going to have played in this whole run is going to be Frankfurt,
yeah,
right, tells me we've got to win this European trophy. But you're right. It doesn't matter how we got there. We can all talk about that. We can all surmise. We can all argue. We can all debate. But it will matter if we don't win it. Because if we don't win it, the narrative's going to be 17th in the Premier League, right? Or 16th, depending on Brighton. 17th or 16th in the Premier League. And, well, we had an easy cup run that we ultimately didn't get over the hurdle. So, for me, this is 50-50 now. I was confident. Now I'm 50-50 purely because the Maddison news for me is, I think it's massive. I genuinely do, Lubo. I watched us play the other night. I know you were busy with family and stuff. Watched us play the other night, and there's just no link up from midfield to attack. So we are going to be relying on counterattacks. That's all we're going to be doing, is relying on counterattacks and getting balls high into Richie and Solanke. But win it, sure. But I'm going to ask you, I know your answer. We've streamed so many times. But after we've won it, and it will be celebratory, and by the way, here's my message to all Spurs fans. Don't let anyone out there tell you can't celebrate. Don't let anyone tell you. It doesn't matter if you don't like the manager. It doesn't matter if a player you hate scores the goal. It doesn't matter if it was, I know Timo can't play, but it doesn't matter if you don't rate Richarlison, he scores the winner, and people say you can't celebrate. No, this is Tottenham Hotspur. You're allowed to celebrate, right? But my question to you, Lubo, is this. After the celebrations, after the bus parade and that, he's still going, right? He's still got to go. Levy will not part with another league campaign like that, will he? He just won't.
I don't think he will. There's you've seen Barisic, he's coming in. Gabbianini, by reports, is back on the scene. There's absolutely no way that Ange will be manager, I don't think, next season. Cannot possibly see it. At the end of the day, to get into the Champions League will pull Levy out the shit financially, because otherwise it is an enormous loss next season when you think of the money that we would have made from Champions League, plus the losses down to the merit positions in the league this season, over 30 million loss that this will be if we finish 17th compared to 5th. I think it's something like 37.2 million if we finish 17th. And, for me, he's got to go, because how do you take the team forward? You go into a Champions League, you're not going to be playing the same quality, the same calibre of teams that you played this year. So that's completely different. And anybody who thinks that this Spurs team, even with 1 or 2 extras, are going to win the Champions League needs their heads examined. So we're just not going to get anywhere near a final next season if we're in the Champions League. Plus, in the league, he's 17th. He's looking at it thinking, if we got relegated, financially, it could be catastrophic.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Daniel Levy, I know we all know you're not a fan of Daniel Levy. If you are Daniel Levy tomorrow, he is going to absolutely be shitting himself all day, because this game, revenue-wise, for Tottenham Hotspur is. Yeah. I know we're not accountants, and I know like little Matty K will go, oh, you're starting to sound like Sean and talking about money. But if we remove the football side for 1 minute, how in like 90 minutes that's going to either give Spurs somewhere between 60 and 100 million pounds, or nada.
He will feel like the Sheffield United and Sunderland chairman who are going to Wembley next weekend to compete for a place in the Premier League.
Yes.
And how ridiculous that he should be feeling that. Seriously. I mean, that's just mad.
But it is, right? It's like, if I'm not wrong, I believe I saw a report. Aston Villa have made something like 76 million, 78 million from this year's run.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's getting to the quarterfinals, and I think obviously it's the scale goes down. But you get X amount for the group for the league table, and then if we don't have any of that, I think a lot of Spurs fans are going to be in for a bit of a shock as to what this transfer window is going to look like. I think it's going to be a lot of wheelie-dealy type stuff, a lot of old Harry Redknapp hanging out of car windows type transfer activity. I think you're going to see a lot of free transfers, and I think you're going to see 2 or 3 of the better players move on, so that you can actually afford those free transfers for the sign-on fees. And again, I'm not being negative. I'm just saying this is how finely balanced it is. It
is. Before I answer, can I just answer CEM on the comments? Burks was leaving us when he won, although by his own choice. Read the report. There's an interview, report of a meeting between Birkinshaw and Perryman that's in today's Daily Mail, where Birkinshaw reports that he was told before a quarter-final game, I think in the UEFA Cup, that he would not be having his contract extended at the end of the season. So Birkinshaw was moved on by Scholar and Bobroff, who were not happy that he wanted to run the club his way and stop their interference. So it's a very interesting article. If you get a chance, it's in today's Daily Mail, or read it online. It's very interesting. Going back to the transfer, yes, it's going to be definitely wheeling and dealing. If we get into the Champions League, that will give us a little bit of extra money. But it is going to be risky, the whole thing. And I don't think we can expect too much this year. I think you're going to see Romero leave. They'll get money for him. I think possibly Kulusevski will leave. And there might be one or two others.
He's got Italy written all over him, Kulu, and he's got either AC or Roma. He's that. For me, I've always said he's that type of player. I think he's got that.
There was also a report, although I think that might be out of date now, where they were talking about Spurs are interested in Diogo Jota from Liverpool, and Liverpool would be interested in Kulusevski, but I think they've got Frimpong now, haven't they? So that may knock that one.
I can't see where Kulu fits in at Liverpool. First of all, I don't think he's good enough for them. Second of all, they've got on the right hand side now. You've got Connor Bradley, who was very good last night. Connor Bradley on at the right back. Frimpong, who's can play right back, right wing back, or forward. Plus Mo Salah's still there. They've got. I don't see where he fits in. I just don't.
So maybe he'll go back to Italy. I can see Kulu going. He's been very good he was very good at the half season that he came under Conte.
Sorry, just quickly. Tribal Chief, what have I said that's negative? I haven't said anything. We're playing out scenarios, Tribal Chief, because tomorrow there is 2 scenarios. We win and we go Champions League. We lose, we have no Europe, and the revenue is down. That's not negative, Lubo, is it? These are the realities.
We're just talking about what tomorrow's game means. Yeah.
See, what I hate is people like this. I see him. He'll float around to other chats saying Savva was being negative today. Savva was being toxic. I haven't been toxic or negative. I'm having deep football conversations about what happens tomorrow. So please don't do this, Tribal Chief. This is not right. Hopefully, of the 400 people in here, most of them can realise that you're absolutely lying, and I've not said anything negative at all. Sorry. I just have to get that out there. I hate these sort of comments. I hate them. Sorry.
So no, and let's keep it on a positive. Today is a positive. You know, before going to Madrid, if I was being honest, I really wasn't expecting to win, because I think Liverpool finished second. They were well clear points wise of Spurs, and they had the better team. So you just thought to yourself, you know what? On the day, hopefully we can turn up and they don't, and we can get an unexpected win. Tomorrow for me is a flip of a coin.
I agree.
You've got two teams. When you look at United's league record, the only teams they've beaten in the league since January are Leicester and Ipswich. And you know, he's very good. I heard
we're nearly as bad as that. Don't worry about it. We're
nearly as bad as that. But I was listening to, I can't remember who was talking. There was some ex-professionals talking on Talk Sport yesterday or the day before, and they were saying, you know, it was Joe Cole who was saying that he's very good, Amorim, at playing against European teams. He said the problem with United is that if you've got a team that are fit, that keep going the whole time, United get outrun in a lot of Premier League games. Basically saying that they are not as fit as they could be. So maybe Amorim's playing another Premier League team. For me, it is a flip of a coin. It's whoever turns up on the night. Maybe it'll be one piece of magic that separates it, a mistake, a refereeing decision. Sorry, Chris, if you're watching. You know, and it could be, but you look at it and no result would be a surprise, would it? Whichever way it went. Any team we've beaten is Southampton, yeah.
Our last two wins in 15 games has been Southampton and Ipswich. So
okay, well, we're much the same then.
But because of both those, let's be fair, right? This is so scarily similar for both clubs. It's unreal, Lubo. Like I don't think I've ever seen a final where two teams are both in the same situation. I watched a few podcasts yesterday from people like Rants and Bants, who I watch from Man United and other people. Their fans are having the exact same conversation as us, Lubo, right? There's only one difference. They know they're still going to, yesterday it's announced they're signing Cunha. So yes, we know they're still going to buy top players because it's Man United. But their fans are having exactly the same conversation, mate. Their fans are saying, this is the get out of jail free card. This game saves what has been an absolutely shambolic season. And it's exactly the same for us. So I don't think you're wrong in saying this is flip a coin. I genuinely don't know. Neither team are in form. Neither team are going into this off the back of league wins. Neither team are going into this with full strength squads. They're missing about 5 or 6 at the back. We're missing about 3 or 4 going forward. I genuinely can't call it. My heart will say Tottenham. My heart says Tottenham. My head, you know, I don't do the bias thing, Lubo. My head says I genuinely don't. I genuinely don't know how it's going to go, and I want that to tie into what we move into. Depending on who you listen to, you know, some people are saying, "Well, listen, Man United played Chelsea the other night. They didn't actually look too bad. Man United. I thought they could have definitely got something from the game. Their first team near enough played in that game and looked quite decent. We put out, again, another very weak team against Palace, and we didn't look decent. Do you read anything into this? Do you think he could have used one of these games to try, I don't know, Richie up top with Solanke in the hole to find, could he have done something like that?
I would have played fairly much a full-strength team against Palace, but not on Friday. I think Friday was too close to the final. In terms of Rob Welsh just put, it'll either be a 1-0 or a 4-3. Fully agree.
Yeah, great.
Fully agree. Kate, you're quite right. It was Rio Ferdinand that was talking about Man United running out of steam. Yes, I'm heading out to Bilbao tomorrow morning. So slept in till 8 o'clock today. I thought it's a good opportunity. I won't get much sleep for the next 2 days. So and the Red Bulls in the fan zone will just keep me going probably tomorrow afternoon. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's two ways of looking at it. For me, the only frustrating thing for me is I would have just liked to have seen in one of those games try something. In one of those games, if for example, we see Solanke tomorrow night behind Richie, try it in one of the games. Do you know what I mean? Just trial it. So I genuinely, I'm at the stage, Lubo. I don't know what 11 to expect tomorrow. Realistically, up like in terms of we know the back four. Yeah. I don't know what to expect after Basuma and Bentancur. Those two will definitely play.
Well, I think that depends on. So I think that depends on whether Sar's fit, because he went off with a knock on Friday. If Sari and the club have kept that very quiet, if Sar's fit, I think he'll play. Yep. With a front three of Johnson, Solanke, and Son. I just think that's the team virtually picks itself. If Sar's not fit, then I can see.
Would you not play Richie in a game like this where you've got people like Harry Maguire? I mean, let's be fair. What Man you are good at is Harry Maguire will win every single ball that comes into that box. Would you not play Solanke and Richie so you've got a bit more for Man U to think about in the air?
Definitely. I was reading on Twitter, there were one or two United fans that got involved and they were saying, they give away a lot of goals from high balls, from crosses, which is why Porro is going to be key tomorrow night as well. And if you've got Solanke and Richie who are both strong in the air coming in against Lindelof and Maguire and Shaw, I know who I fancy.
Yeah, Harry Maguire every time.
Well,
listen, let's be fair. I know
one takes Maguire away with a run, and you've got the other one against Lindelof. I know who I'm fancying.
Mate, absolutely, which is why I would play both. That is why tomorrow night I would find a way of playing Richarlison and Solanke. And by the way, I don't think either of them are technically gifted footballers, but they are big, powerful lads. And if it's one-on-one, Dan, I'll bring you in here as well. If it's one-on-one, let's be fair. Harry Maguire, first of all, I think I saw Dan say this the other day in the chat. I think he gets way too much stick, Harry Maguire.
Agreed.
But in the air, he is bloody good in the air, isn't he? That boy, his forehead is attracted to the football in both boxes. We've really got to watch that because Van der Ven and Romero, their strength is not in the air. Romero's decent in the air, decent. Van der Ven is, for a big guy, I think terrible. He's found wanting. So Maguire, for me, is a huge element for tomorrow night's game. Huge.
And that's why you'll also need both of them back with set pieces, because they're going to be absolutely key. As you say, Romero and Van der Ven, strongest points are not aerial, and they will challenge us from dead balls.
Absolutely. God, Dan. Morning.
Yeah,
morning, Dan.
Morning. Still getting my life with me with my coffee, my hit. Yeah, I mean, Harry Maguire for me is one. I mean, I was speaking with a Man U fan yesterday about it when I jumped on the Man Cave to give him a hand since he had two Man U fans on him at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think Maguire has taken a hell of a lot of stick. I mean, he's no 80 million player for sure. But he is a player I would not say no to if I had a solid back three that wasn't pushing up the halfway line, basically. I think he's a lot better player than people give him credit for. He's just slow, extremely slow. But every time I've ever seen him play for England, I give him a minimum of a 7, maybe bar one game. He always gives it everything he's got. He wins in the air. He ain't scared to get stuck in. I think he's a better player than what people give him credit for.
I agree.
And when it comes to a dead ball situation and that, he is one we definitely have to watch out for because he's got more than enough capability in the air, significantly more than pretty much most of the players we got. I mean, up front, I definitely agree with playing with Richarlison and Solanke. I'd play Son just behind and try and change it a bit. Since we've got no playmaker there, I'd use Son as our sort of Dele Alli shadow striker. And then on the right, I suppose it's got to be Johnson, really, because he's the one who does tap it in the back of the net. And then I feel we've got to bring our playmaking further backwards or just basically play different style of counter-attacking direct ball football, basically, because we've got no creativity on that pitch whatsoever. With the game itself, yeah, nerves are starting to go a little bit, and I've still got the meh side of me where I sort of cut the nerves off a long time ago. But it's make or break, isn't it? For both teams.
Mate, for both. And that is why, I know I can't stress this enough, that is why this game for me is very, very interesting. If I remove my Spurs hat for 1 second, that for me is what's so interesting about this isn't like when we went in to play Liverpool, it's Liverpool. When you go into finals and play against Chelsea in their prime, it's like you know what to expect. But this is a team that have, let's be fair, there is 1 point separating Tottenham Hotspur and Man United. They've lost 39 games between them in the Premier League. Like, that is just 39.
That's a season. That's a complete
season between them that they've lost. So I genuinely don't know. But what I would like to do here is I would like to bring up the team selector. And I would like us to see if we can agree. So hopefully everyone can see that. You can see here that if I make it too big, by the way, you can't see. Now, at the moment, we've got a 4-2-3-1. First of all, that's the first thing we need to agree on. Is this going to be a 4-2-3-1 or is this going to be a 4-3-3? Because obviously, we'd normally play like this if a Maddison or Kulu was available to play in the 10. But if they haven't, and Sarr plays, it's going to be more of a flat 3 in the middle, isn't it? Because not one of them is creative. So what am I putting in, guys? Is it going to be a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2? What are we agreeing that this is going to look like?
I'd go for a 4-2-3-1. I mean, personally, I'd totally change the system. We know that, but we know it's either going to be 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. I'd go for a 4-2-3-1.
So like it is on the screen is okay for you, Dan. Lubo, what do you reckon?
No, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So you're both comfortable with the back 5 I put in. I think, can we all agree that is going to be the back 5 tomorrow?
That goes without saying. You could put your house on that, basically.
Right. Yeah. And then are you both comfortable for the 2 in front to be Basuma and Bentancur?
100%.
Yeah.
As long as he plays them with a double pivot, we've actually got a good midfield there.
I think he'll play them. I'm erring if Bergval's fit. I think his legs against Casemiro is 15 years younger. I think he'll kill him for pace in midfield.
He's just not going to be fit, is he?
So we're Basuma. Basuma do him as well.
I hope so. I hope we get the Basuma of Bodo and not the Basuma of Villa on last Friday.
That's why we need to play a double pivot.
Well, do you know what? I was watching yesterday, when I was watching one of the shows yesterday with the Man U fans, just seeing what they thought about it. And they sound exactly like us, by the way. It's hilarious. Right? It's like neither team are going into it going, we are the best team. It's like, oh, well, I don't know, it's 50-50. They were saying that it's all going to depend tomorrow for United with, do Man United go with a 2 of Ugarte and Casemiro with Bruno Fernandes in a slightly more advanced role, pulling the strings and then the 3 in front of him? Or do they go with Bruno Fernandes in the 2 as more of a deep lying playmaker? Then you've got someone like a Mason Mount in the 10 with Ahmad, Højlund and Garnacho. And it was an interesting conversation. From a Spurs point of view, guys, where would you prefer Bruno Fernandes play? Where do you basically, where is he least dangerous on the pitch? Deep lying or in the number 10?
As far back as from our goal as possible.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? He scares the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie.
Again, another player for me who I think is underrated. I mean, he's no world-class player, but he's a very, very good player. And I think a lot of people, I think he's one of those players like Richarlison, and I'm not putting him on the skill-wise.
Yeah.
He's more one of those players that you can't stand him, nobody likes him, but you don't mind him if he's in your team on the pitch doing the dirty work and winding everyone up. I think he's a bit of one of them ones. I mean, maybe Richarlison, wrong example. I'm looking at more personal.
I know what you mean. But Bruno's their guy, Dan. Like I saw someone the other day. Oh, sorry, I just hit Stanley in the face. Sorry, Stanley. I didn't know he was by my feet. I saw someone the other day going, "Oh, we shouldn't be worried about anything Man U have got." And I'm thinking, well, no, that's not quite how football works, is it? Bruno's a massive concern, guys, because this guy makes them tick. This guy scores goals. This guy assists. This guy knows how to win free kicks. This guy knows the dark arts. He is the one, right, Luba? If we're being fair, Bruno Fernandes is the one to be worried about.
Well, look at his stats in terms of goals and assists for United since January. I think he's been involved in close on 90%.
Yeah.
So if you nullify him, you could look at it and think to yourself, the other way of playing would be, do you put someone like Basuma man-to-man on Bruno Fernandes? Do you bring Bergvall in as your second midfield player? And then say, right, and then push Porro and Udogie on as the guys who are going to create with Richarlison and Solanke in the middle.
Personally,
on the end of crossing.
Even if we had a full team, I wouldn't start Bergvall. I don't think he's quite got the mentality for this game yet.
Oh,
and what I mean by that is well, he's been very erratic and nearly got himself a red card several times because he's got a big mouth.
Not recently.
He has. He does it every game. He always gets saucy every game. You wouldn't say so?
Not for ages. Not early doors. First part of the season, yes, he was getting involved and getting booked stupidly. But I don't think...
The difference is this is a European game, yeah? And I find that European refs are a bit more stricter. They don't take the crap, basically, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a mouthy player. He does like getting into the thick of it and getting gobby, even when it's got nothing to do with him as such.
Mm-hmm.
And on the mentality-wise, he's just one. Even if we had a full team, I wouldn't start for that reason. I'm not saying I wouldn't bring him on the pitch, but I wouldn't want to start him. I just don't think he's quite there yet. Yes, he's been our best progressive player, everything else. But he is still young, and he is one that I don't know if I'd want to take that risk of the mentality he could have on the pitch, the effect it could have on him. But that's just a personal opinion.
For me, see, I'll say this. This might cause a bit. Hey, don't you bite my door? Sorry, that is a dog I'm talking to, not a human being. Be really weird if a human being was biting my door. Look, I think this is an interesting one because even if Bergvall was 100% fit, I still think in a double pivot, I want Basuma all day long over Bergvall. In a double pivot, I want Basuma all day long. Now, I'm not knocking Bergvall. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I just think that in the pivots, Basuma is very good, right? However, if you were going to go to play a more traditional 4-3-3, then I want Bergvall. But in this formation that we've picked, I think you've got to put Basuma in for experience. I think you've got to put him in because of his performances in the semi-final and his fitness. I'll be really shocked if he starts Bergvall. Mm-hmm. I'll be really shocked.
By the way, 3 yellow cards in 27 games. Not so bad, is it?
I wasn't talking about yellow cards. I'm talking about how rash he is, general and mouthy. And Europe, they don't put up with this crap like they do in the Premier League.
Well, if we talk about but Dan, Basuma for rashness. I mean,
Yeah, but if he's not in a double pivot, you won't see him as rash. It's like I've explained to people time and time again. 85, call it a random number, but I'd say 85% of Basuma's problems, where has every single one of them been? When he's had to make a rash decision on a defensive problem where he's not a defensive player. Every time. Make me wrong.
I don't know. I think back to the winning goal that Arsenal got against us at the Emirates in January. Spence giving the ball to Basuma. He's got no one around him. He's sat on the ball. Instead of giving it straight back to Spence, who made the run for him, he sat on it, been dispossessed. The ball's in the back of the net.
Okay.
Sure, but if you're going to do that, wasn't Bergvall at fault for both goals against AZ Alkmaar? Do you know what I mean? Like we could do this with players all day long, couldn't we?
Hang on a sec.
We could do this all day long with individual footballers. By the way, just quickly before Lubo comes in to try and tell me off, right? I'm going to tell you lot off. Guys, there's just under 500 of you in it and 127 likes. Come on. You guys are telling me off for being negative. We're in a bloody cup final tomorrow. Where's the likes? Where's the positivity? Smash that like button, people. Come on, Lubo.
Well,
defend your boy.
No, the goal at Alkmaar was he sliced it. That was a freak goal, and the goal in the second leg. I mean, he played the ball, and it hit. Was it hit Oyabare and rebounded off? It was, you know, there were two very, very different, very, very unorthodox situations that wouldn't normally happen.
Sure. Listen, as I said, I like Bergvall. I do think everybody's putting way too much emphasis on whether he plays tomorrow night. I don't see the difference of him playing or not, if I'm honest, because what we're missing isn't a Bergvall type player. We've got that in Basuma. That's not what we're missing. Yeah. What we're missing is creativity. And I don't want to hear from anybody that Bergvall's a creative player yet. 45 games, 1 assist. That's not a creative footballer in any way, shape or form. So for me, I just think the juice isn't worth the squeeze. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Guys, we've got 4 positions here. And you've got Tell, Son, Richie, Solanke, Odegaard, Johnson. You got 5 or 6 to pick from, and you got 4 positions. What does he do? What does he do tomorrow night, and can we agree?
Well, he'll start with Son, won't he? Son's his favourite. Son's his captain.
Where? Left. You think Sonny's going to go left?
Definitely. I don't see anything that Tell's done that's going to put him in front of Son, a fit Son for tomorrow's game. Maybe not totally match fit, but if he's played him in the last 2 games, I think you'll see Sonny definitely on the left. On the right, I think he will stick with Johnson because he just doesn't think outside the box ever, does he? For me, I'd have played Spence at right back and Porro on the right to put balls in for Richie or Solanke. He'll start with Solanke because he's his number 1 centre forward as well. So for me, your 4 will be the 4. Will it? Crikey, where does Sarr come in?
So this is the point. If Sarr doesn't play, somebody is out of position because somebody's going to have to play in that
10, yeah.
If you will, attacking midfield 10. Now, this is why the other night against Villa, what I would have done, or Palace, what I would have done is in that 10, no, it had to be Villa because Kulu started against Palace. That number 10 for me would have been Richarlison or Solanke in that 10. One of them.
I don't think Richie technically has got it, but I think Solanke.
I agree. I'm clutching at straws here, Lubo.
That's right. But you play. I mean, there was a lot of talk in the press about playing Porro there, but he didn't. I mean, you could play Spence at right back, and put Porro in the 10, but he's missed the 2 opportunities to do that, hasn't he?
Right. And that's what's frustrated. That's what frustrated me. So, okay. Let me ask then, Dan, do you agree with Lubo? Because we might be able to get one out of the way. Do you agree with Lubo that it's going to be Son and he's going to be on the left?
It's not what I would do, but we're talking about what the manager's going to do.
Will Ange do it? Will Ange do it?
I would presume he would. Yeah. Whereas I would rather change the tactics a little bit, have him as the 10 and use him as a shadow striker, basically. Again, like we did with Dele Alli. That is where I think you might see the most out of him in a game like this. Because if the long balls are coming forward and the direct balls are coming forward from Bentancur and Palmer, that gives him something to run onto. Then we can use Solanke as more of a target man to hold it for Son to come past him. And Son, he's still one of the best finishers about with his left and right foot, even though he's lost the majority of pace and everything else. But you're right. I think Son will start on the left.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, listen, just really, really quickly, Random of JSVN. I've seen 3 comments you've put in the chat now where you're lying about what the panel have said. If I see one more, you're gone, right? If I see one more, you're gone. No one has said they don't want to win tomorrow night. Stop lying. Not one person on this panel has said that. Right? So please stop it. I can see your comments. Believe it or not, it's my show. I can read the comments in my YouTube settings. Stop this. Right? Okay. Sonny on the left. So now the question is this. For me, guys, I don't want to see, if I'm honest, I don't want to see Tell or Odegaard anywhere near this. I think both of them have been very, very poor. I don't think either of them offer anything, and neither of them have got a creative bone in their body. And if you want to test me on that, between them, they've played 39 games this season, and they've got 1 assist between them. 1 assist in 39 appearances. So, do you, first of all, do you guys agree with me, or would either of you start Odegaard or Tell or both?
I'd personally start Odegaard on the right.
You would?
I would.
No,
instead of Brennan Johnson?
No
yeah,
chance.
because if Johnson doesn't get a goal, we're playing with 10 men.
Yeah, and if Johnson does
But
get
if
a
he
goal,
does
we're playing
get a
with
goal-
10 men. If he does get a goal, we're playing with 10 men. So what does it matter? You know, when he scores the goal, he disappears anyway. I'd rather he scored a goal and then disappeared than not be on there anyway. I get what you're saying, but then what has Odegaard actually done on the left where it is his main position? Nothing. What has Tell done? Nothing. The only goal he scored, he didn't even know the ball bloody hit him until it went in the back of the net. So for me, whether we like him or not, and everybody knows, I do not rate Johnson as a player. I can't cross, can't pass, can't run with a ball, blah, blah, blah. But one thing he does do is get that tap-in goal. And whether it's a tap-in or not, a goal is a goal. I'm sure no one will be complaining if he scruffs it off the floor and it rolls in the back of the net. Exactly. And he is the only player right now we have of the capability of scoring a regular goal. Whether it's against good teams, bad teams, whatever, this is a bad team we're playing against. Man, you are not good. They are not defensively capable. They are as bad as us in every way. We need Johnson to start that game 1,000,000%, in my opinion.
Let me ask you a question, Dan, on that, right? And again, this is, I think this is a real interesting debate because, Lubo, the fact that you're saying what you're saying about Brennan Johnson, for me, this is the enigma that is Brennan Johnson, isn't it?
Sure.
Is we're literally saying, if you don't get a tap in, what do you do? And that's absolutely right. But obviously,
It's
Dan
true.
is right as well, going, well, hang on, if he doesn't get a tap in, no, Odegaard don't get tap ins, Tell doesn't get tap ins. You know, Solanke's struggled, if we're going to be honest, to score goals. Richie struggled. So my question is this. We know what Man U are going to play. We know they're going to go over back three, right? Unless Amorim pulls the mother of all surprises in the final, which he's not going to, we know that they play wing-backs, if you like. And we know that the left-sided wing-back on that side is going to be Patrick Dorgu, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think by all intents and purposes, I've seen all Man United fans saying it's going to be Dorgu.
Yeah.
Problem you've got is if Brennan Johnson's up against Dorgu, for me, the worry is he doesn't go past him once. That's the worry for him as a winger. However, when balls come into the box, he is the one that we do know can get into that penalty area, that 10, 12-yard area, and get the finish. So this is a real conundrum. And again, it goes to show why when we're buying players, if you've got this many people saying they don't want their top goal scorer playing, it makes you question how good the footballer is, right, Lubo?
Yeah, I mean, for me, you bring in someone like Brian Mbeumo next season, and he does so much more and scores. I think he scored the same sort of goals, if not more, this season than Johnson, and he puts in so much work, so much covering, more assists. I mean, different quality, and that's what we're talking about. I do think that you're right. You're not going to leave your top scorer out for a cup final, are you? So for me, although I would prefer to have Odegaard, who I thought took his goals in a recent European game, I thought he took his goals very well. You would start with Johnson.
What do you think Odegaard can offer, though?
I think he goes at players. That's the difference. He runs and he stretches defenders and he pushes them back. Defenders don't.
There's no end product, is there? There's nothing after he's done that initial. See, this is the thing. A lot of the time, I think when we're looking at him and Tell, I hear this a lot, that they run at people. But the problem is they run at them and then there's nothing. Like, Tell has got one of the worst deliveries of a football I've ever seen from out wide. Like, him and Odegaard, for me, they look like they do a lot. Dan, I don't know if you agree with me. I feel like they look like they do a lot, but there isn't actually anything that comes of it. I don't know if that's me being harsh, but I think that they're so poor. both of them.
No, you're right. In a way, they're similar to Bergvall. It's just Bergvall is better. And what I mean by similar to Bergvall is you see him do a lot of work on the pitch, get the ball, get forward, but you never see a final product of him, hardly ever. You hardly ever see that pass that counts on the third part of what he's doing. You hardly ever see that shot, let alone a goal. And that is the thing that I think has held Bergvall back for me this season. But we have seen him obviously improve. And under a good coach, I think we can fix that final bit and he will improve. I think we've got a very good player there. But Odegaard, he can't cross come love nor money. He can't pass. He can't do nothing. He's good on the ball, but he very rarely beats his man. I just think he's a complete waste of space. And if you wanted someone to actually get down there and beat their man, I think Werner is better than both of them. But again, he can't produce nothing at the end either because Werner actually beats his man. Odegaard or Tell hardly ever beat their man.
Yeah. Like statistically, like factually, Dan, they you know, this is why, you know, when we're in the group, people keep going, oh, what Tell, you know, people go, oh, I like Tell today. Why? He beat his man. Well, hang on, let's go and look. So, right, you mean he beat his man once in 9 attempts? Like, as a fullback, we all know this, right? As a fullback, if your man tries to take you on the first 2 or 3 times and can't, your confidence goes through the roof, doesn't it? You know you've got the better of him. Equally the other way, if your man takes you on the first 2 times he gets the ball, you're shitting yourself for the rest of the game. That's why people won't want to play against a Jeremy Doku, but they will want to play against a Tell or an Odegaard. Because a Doku, you know he's got the beating of you. And then the question mark with him is either a brilliant ball in or a shit ball. Tell and Odegaard don't have any final ball. That's the worry for me with both of them. But then by playing Johnson, he doesn't have a ball in, does he? I've never seen a player attempt so many crosses that just skid along the floor and hit the first bloke. Like, you would have thought someone would have worked on him with that, Lubo, in the training. Like, you know what I mean?
It's funny because last season, do you remember around Christmas time, he was putting some lovely balls in that Richie was getting on the end of. Balls in and tap-ins for Richie. So he can do it. He can do it. We just haven't seen it anywhere near as much this season. In terms of Bergvall, just looking at Alex's morning, Alex.
Morning, mate.
Just saying that when you look at maybe it's where he's coming from, Bergvall. He scored that nice goal against Liverpool and that shot from 25 yards against Frankfurt that came off the bar. That's what Bergvall's capable of. And maybe it's tactics. Maybe he's told, play it out to the right, play it out to Porro, play it out to Johnson. As Spence said, they are tied into the tactics. They're not allowed to be, to do their own thing and be a little bit creative and think outside the box. They're just told to play a certain way. And maybe Bergvall is as well. Maybe we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that.
Disagree, Lubo. Lubo, I don't disagree. I think if a proper coach comes in and gets hold of Bergvall, you're saying, dude, you've got the power, you've got the pace, you can drop your shoulder and beat a man. Now, what I want to see from you, I want to see you getting more shots, popping more shots away from 20 yards, 18 yards.
More direct balls.
More direct, yeah.
He's 19. That will come. If it's
coached into him, it will come, Lubo. If it's coached into him, it will come.
Absolutely. Well, that's where Peritish's decision for next season's manager is so crucial.
And that's why you got to look at this team the way Ange's going to play it. So whether he's more capable or not of doing this or that, we've basically said the way we play and Ange plays, he's not going to be doing that, even if he is capable of doing that. So the fact that Odegaard or Bergvall are capable of doing that is totally irrelevant because we ain't going to be doing it. Is how I see this one.
I mean, so are we comfortable saying that it will be Brennan on the right?
Yeah.
I would think leaving Brennan out would be a stupid move. And I don't rate him, but
I agree. He's effective, but he's not a good footballer. That's how I would sum him up.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's how I would sum him up. I think lots of people as well, they don't understand the difference. When people go to me, oh, you don't rate Johnson, he's your top goal scorer. Yeah, I don't rate him to watch. I think whenever he gets the ball, I go, well, this move's going to end. However, I know when a ball's being pulled back into the box, I know Brennan Johnson will be the one busting a gut to get in there. So pros and cons. Now, is this as simple, guys, for you as Solanke in the hole, Richie up top? Or am I really simplifying something here?
I think Solanke's got to start up the front because for me, Solanke is another one who I think is a bang average player at his very best. He's had one good season in his entire career. I think we play him totally the wrong way again, and I think we would see more of him if he was played to his abilities, but I'm still not saying he would be a good player. But he is one who I would play up front and use him blatantly as a target man, almost play back to goal, because he can actually hold on to the ball.
Who'd you play in the hole then? Who'd you play in the 10?
That was my question. Who's in the hole?
I've said who I would, and I've said who I'd do it up.
Dan, based on the team as it is, and working on it, that we all think that Angie's going to play Johnson right, Son left. How do you fill those two positions with the players that are left? Who have you got left? You've got Bergvall, Sarr, Richie, Solanke. Tell.
I mean, what I would do and what Angie would do are two different things. I personally think that Angie's going to put Odegaard in the 10 and Solanke in the striker. That's what I think he will do. Whether he should or shouldn't is a different story.
If he does that, we saw the problem is, for me, Odegaard is so lightweight. Again, like, you know, you've got to look in there. If they have, again, we don't know their team. This is all hypotheticals, right? And I will get to the super chats in a minute, guys. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. If they do have Ugarte and Casemiro in that 10, I just think that an Odegaard or a Tell gets so swamped in there. I think they get eaten up alive. Yes, Casemiro hasn't got the legs anymore, but what he's got up there, it's what he's got up there. It's the know-how, it's the experience, right? The reading of the game. Ugarte's got a great engine, loves the tackle. This is a real issue, and this is where, for me, against Aston Villa, I would have played Solanke up top, Solanke in the hole, Richie up top, and said, right, let's go a bit more direct. Let's try and cause some problems, because if you've only got Solanke up top tomorrow, guys, and Man U have got the back three, I think Man U's back three probably breathes a little sigh of relief that Richie's not playing, because Richie is technically, I don't rate the man at all. As a pain in the arse to play against, and as somebody in the air, he is a pain in the arse to play against. So I think you've got to find a way of getting them both on the pitch. And that is where Sonny, for me, the other night should have been in the 10, maybe. You could have done that as well. But for me, to not have tried any of it the other night was baffling, if I'm brutally honest, was baffling.
I agree. I mean, I would still say Son for me would start as the 10 as the shadow striker. But again, we've put him on the left and we're trying to actually think how Ange would think here. Not the most logical thing to do. Because if it was the most logical thing to do, I think we'd have agreed Son goes in the middle. But
so what you're talking about is this.
Or
Solanke up front. Because if you look at this now, again, from my opinion, right, basically, I'd put Son there as, like I said, my shadow striker, but I'd also put him there as a do what you want, mate. Get on with it. Just do what you want. Whether he runs over to the left, to the right, to the middle, whatever. We all know that Son has got two good feet on him. And that is where I feel Solanke can hold on to the ball better, hold on to it for Son to come in and have a crack, but he can also have a shot himself. Richarlison can then start cutting in and just being a pain in the arse or winding everyone up like he does, also good in the air. And Johnson can also get in tight with that, because it's not as hard to set Johnson up as it is other players. You can stick several players, probably, well, several's probably an exaggeration, but you can stick a few players on the left. They can't cross the ball, but it's not exactly the hardest thing to drill the ball across the goal as it is to put a good cross in. For me, it's the more simple thing to do. So whoever we've got on the left, as long as they can just kick the ball straight to the right, you've then got the option of Son running in on it, Solanke being there for it, or it totally missing the pair of them and Johnson tapping it in the back of the net. So for me, whoever goes left, I'm really not that bothered, as long as they can just drill the ball across the bloody goal. And
see, I feel, Dan, that with Porro's raking crosses, by the way, David Clark in the chat, you were saying earlier that this notion that Porro's got a good cross, Porro's got a very good cross. I mean, come on, Porro's got a wand of a right foot. Defensively, we can have the chat about what he does that way, but he's got a beautiful passing across, David. I think
he's our only one who has. He's our only one who can cross the ball. There is not one player on that team, bar Porro, who can cross that ball on a consistent basis. Son could never cross the ball come love nor money or pass. Johnson can't do it.
Could we see this? Do it. Could we see almost like the other night? Could we see this? Could we see something like that? Because the other night was very much two banks of four with Sonny down one side, and whoever, I can't even remember the team the other night, Mikey Moore on the other, and you had kind of Tell and Odeber kind of floating in and around the central areas of the park. Do you think we could see something like that, Lubo, or is this just a bit too basic?
No, it's not. But I think Son in front of Udogie. I think you've got Ahmed coming down at Udogie down that side. You'll need someone who is going to get who can defend, that can help Udogie, because Amad Diallo is going to be a real threat. So to put Son in front of Udogie, I can see nothing but problems for us. I really can. And the other worry is if they come down the other side, then Porro and Johnson, we know, are just very weak defensively together. So there are your issues, and that's why he's got to think very carefully. We were looking at it just now, 4-2-3-1. Where do you put the players for the final two positions? And I'm thinking to myself, you're putting square pegs in round holes now, because it's, what do we do? It's, we're not doing things that are, you're not playing players in their natural position, and that's a problem.
See, this is what I would, guys, I'll be honest, this is how I would start, right? This is how I would start. And I would have Son as a bit more of a free spirit, picking up the ball on the right, picking up the ball on the left, getting shots away from the middle of the park. And what I would do is, when Porro is playing those diagonal balls, which will naturally come over to the left-hand side of the penalty box, I want Richie and Solanke there. Because when Richie played left wing the other day, it was loose. It was a loose left wing. He was playing almost as an inside forward, getting into the box and getting on the end of all the high balls. But I think Ash is absolutely right in the chat. I think where Ash said, I wouldn't move too many pieces around. It's either Son or Solanke in the 10. I agree. I don't think at this stage of the season you can start doing different things. He's not attempted to do anything different in the last two games, which is where I think he should have. For me, I think you're going to see exactly what we've seen all season. Oh, sorry, that Bentancur and Johnson, by the way. Sorry, that should definitely be that way round. Although Bentancur could probably whipping a ball better. But that's what I would question.
Do you think that, I mean, like I say, where we've got no creativity, and I think we look much better on a counter-attacking anyway, yeah? But he's not going to play 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever way you want to put it. Do you think we could be better off going for a 4-5-1 and just totally sandwich up that midfield for them, and then just try and get the direct balls forward? And then, that's another option I think we got. I think we can go for a 4-5-1, sandwich that midfield 110%, and then just keep trying to get the direct balls and the long balls forward.
Yeah,
I think that's another thing we can try.
Ahmad won't beat Udogie on a 1v1. Why? Don't underestimate Ahmad. He's a very good little winger. Why would he not beat Udogie in a 1-on-1?
And if Udogie's inverted, there's going to be no Udogie there.
I mean, look, the point Dan just made there.
So you need Richie, for me, on the left, because he comes back and he defends.
Agreed.
He does. Same as Werner does.
Absolutely agreed. And this is the point where we need to be really careful, because if Johnson isn't getting back and helping out Porro, you're going to have... this is what people have got to remember, the mismatch. And we'll do Man United's, right? I know you've got to leave in 7 minutes to go to the thing. If we do Man United's, right, we know that Man United will... I'll change the players in a minute. Hang on. I'll clear the lineup. We know Man United are going to do this. And these two players here... you can't see my screen, can you? Hang on. Sorry, I'm fiddling about with the screen and you guys can't see it. These two players here, can you see me moving my screen, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
These two players here, if we leave Porro exposed, they're going to double up. And this is likely to be What's that? That's going to be Dorgu.
Yeah.
And this will probably be, I don't know, let's just say Garnacho, right? If you've got Garnacho there, you're going to have what? Ahmad there. Ahmad Diallo. You're looking at Anana. Hang on, let's just do this. Anana in goal. Back three is going to be De Ligt if he's fit.
Maguire and
Euro.
Euro.
Yeah. So Maguire. Again, I listen. Again, I'm not too bothered what their team's going to be. They're not my club. This is just a loose representation. And then you're going to have what? Manuel Ugarte, and let's say Casemiro. I can't imagine he won't start Casemiro in a final. And then you're going to have Bruno. And then Højlund, right?
I mean, that is how I would love to see Tottenham played personally.
I agree. But the point is here, guys, if we look at the fullback areas, big up, Barry. If we look at the fullback areas, right, this is where I think we need to be really careful about if we're going to invert or not. Because you are going to have Dorgu and Garnacho that can float down that left-hand side, getting in behind Porro if he's out of position. And on the other side, Amad Diallo is going to be able to get in behind Destiny Udogie. And then you've got to ask yourself the question, if you've got Garnacho and Bruno, or maybe Mason Mount starts instead of Garnacho, this is where Basuma and Bentancur are going to have to be so on it. They're going to have to be so on it watching those two. Any thoughts?
I think a lot of this is going to come down to the game on whether we play inverted football or not. I don't think he should. I don't think he should. You know, I don't agree with the inverted crap, full stop. But I don't think he should invert either of them. Now, if we was to play, say, a 4-5-1 or a 4-4-2, this is where I would think common sense comes into this, let alone being a football manager. That is where you go and stick Porro as your winger and Spence on the right. On Spurs' side.
I think.
But he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. That is the thing. We have got options there, and our creativity is going to come down to Porro or Bentancur. And if he was to play a 4-4-2, then you've got the easy option there of Spence, who can cover his own arse as a defender, who's a better defender than both of them. And then you've got Porro, that little bit further up, who can start getting the balls in. Maybe that's common sense, but
Ange doesn't have common sense, Dan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I like Glenn Cornwall's comment, 11-15, United have only scored 42 Premier League goals all season. No need to be gung-ho. Not sure about letting them have the ball and counter. Much rather have the ball. Best form of defence is attack. And if you've got the ball, they can't score. But
hang on, how many have they scored recently, Lubo, in the Europa? They just smashed 7 past Bilbao.
Yeah.
They smashed about 6. Was it 6 past, 7 past Leon?
And we've conceded 60.
Yeah, they've listen. I think we've got to separate here. If we're going to do it for our club, right? Let me remove that. I can bring that back.
So I'm going to see you in about 25 minutes.
Yeah, I'll see you in a minute. No worries,
Nothing
mate.
personal, Nick. Tell mate.
Yeah, Nick. No one likes you.
What's he going to go and drop Archie Gray off at GCSE summer school or something? Is that what?
No, he's going to pick up his daughter. His son is Archie Gray, not his daughter.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. He's going to take him like summer school or something.
Tell you what, before we get to that, but I've seen varying reports, by the way, on De Ligt as to whether he'll play or not. But look, if it's not De Ligt, we know it'll be Lindelof. So it doesn't. Guys, when I'm picking the Man United team, it's loosely. I don't care, right? I genuinely, that's for their fans to debate, right? We'll debate Spurs. Just quickly, big up to some super chats, massive super chat. Thank you very much. And shouting at me, I love it. There's the passion, saying European final. Come on, you Spurs. We are bringing that trophy home. Everyone behind the team now, leave everything to one side and cheer our boys all the way. Big up, Savva, for all the work you do. Come on, you Spurs, we can do this. Very, very generous. Absolutely. I haven't seen anyone, by the way, say they don't want to win it. I see people saying that others have said that, but I'm not seeing them say that, if that makes sense. I don't know. It just feels a bit weird. I saw a post on somebody's YouTube channel this morning with a well-known shit stirrer who went round to a channel and went, "Oh, I can't believe how toxic all these channels are being the day before a final." thought I haven't seen anyone being toxic. I'm seeing everyone going, right, how do we win? What do we do? Big up to you when the Spurs go marching in. Very generous. Big up to D&B Forever. Can't have a show without a super sticker from my man, D&B Forever. Big up to you, my man. Thank you for all your generosity this season. I really do appreciate it. Big up to another person who always puts in super stickers. Big up to Aussie Ange Hater. Big up to you, my man. Well, let's hope for one day tomorrow at least you won't be hating Ange, and let's hope he can deliver that trophy because, boy, we need it. And you know what? As fans, we bloody deserve it. Big up to you. Big up to Seals Diamond, always very generous as well. He said, start the lucky super chats for tomorrow. Yes, if everybody in here stuck in a tenner, I'd make loads of money. That's the only way I can say it. Big up to all of you. Thanks you very much, Seals Diamond. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. My man, Gary Malt and Barley has said, being absolutely honest, I obviously want the club to win a long-awaited trophy. I just begrudge Ange in the way he's managed getting that accolade. Look, I'll say the same thing I said all along. I don't want Ange here. There's 0% of me that wants Ange here, right? There's 0%. Win the trophy or not, I don't want him here. But if he's the manager that wins the trophy, we say, thank you very much. Appreciate that you won that cup. And then we go and get a proper coach that can take us forward into the Champions League and actually coach players like Bergvall, like Gray, like Odegaard, like Solanke, like Porro and Adogi. So I hear you, but listen, our love for Tottenham has to outweigh the dislike of the manager. It has to, or we've lost all sense of purpose. But big up to you, Gary. Thank you very much. Neil Govenda has said, LFC fan, good luck. Come on, you Spurs. Neil, every Liverpool fan I speak to is Spurs tomorrow night. I love it. We've got Liverpool on our side. To be honest, I think we've probably got most clubs on our side. They just don't want to see Man United win another trophy. I've even seen Arsenal fans. I've seen Arsenal fans saying they want Tottenham to win it. Let that sink in. Big up to you,
I
Neil.
haven't seen that yet.
Well, Angus has said that. There's no way Angus has said that.
No, I said some.
Okay.
And then big up Neil, who said, United won't beat you playing ball, just counter. Neil, listen, I've said this about many teams this year that have beaten us that shouldn't. So, as I said, it's 50-50, my man. Thank you very much for the super chat. By the way, please smash the like button. Just to quickly to finish off my monologue here. Today, I've got a live fan call-in show at 5:30 for anyone who wants to get any last-minute comments in before the final. Anyone that wants to tell me I'm in the mud or talk about V's and the bottoms of V's, feel free to come on. And then on FHTV 2 tonight, I've got the Man City versus Bournemouth game, which is massive for both clubs. Man City obviously chasing chasing Champions League football, and Bournemouth need to win to have any chance of getting that Europa League spot if it drops down to 8th. If they don't win today, they can't get it. And then tomorrow, live at 10 o'clock, and then my show will shamelessly start at 4 p.m. and go right the way through until about 2 a.m. Okay, so we've got a long one tomorrow. It's the cup final. Going to be getting some of these frauds to ring us from Bilbao when they're pissed. We'll see what's going on out there. And I'll have people joining me throughout the day. Nick, hello.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah, I just yeah, look, I understand why I understand why you haven't got that excitement yet. I'm kind of getting there. I'm not saying. I think I watched that video that I shared. I
didn't wake up with an erection or anything. It's not that sort of excitement yet.
All right. No one needs.
Too old for that.
It's not even 12 o'clock, mate. What are you talking about? You know,
maybe a decade ago, Dan.
I think people will. I think for everyone between now and tomorrow's kickoff, I think it will come at different stages, right? I think for me, I saw that there was that tweet that went out, and there was that three and a bit minute video, right, that had everything that kind of had it on. And for me, that was yesterday, and now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, and I said it yesterday evening. I said it to my wife, and I said, please, Tottenham, just for once, can I have some freaking joy? Can I have some the tears? Can the tears be of happiness? Can the joy be? Can you just like you said, we deserve this, right? And it's not like we're going up against a PSG, a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, where we're the underdogs, right? This game is on a knife edge, not only with the result, but what happens afterwards. And I think that is where the nervousness is for me. But yeah, I just seeing people, seeing Sean and Henry at the airport. Henry's had a stinker again. I don't know whether you've heard what's happened this morning with.
No.
Oh well.
Go on, tell us what's Henry Wright done now.
So I mean, he's probably got about 18 flags made after him. But basically, where are we? Let me go back. Where are we? Come on, where is it? So, okay, Henry paid £50 for an airport lounge, then forgot he had the airport lounge, and now he paid 40 quid for a couple of beers and breakfast in the main terminal. So Henry's had an absolute stinker.
Are we going to be getting updates on every silly thing? Listen, I've been away with that boy. Henry and I did a weekend in Poland when we worked together with I took my old team to Poland, and you have no idea how many crazy things happened to that boy in the space of 48 hours. It was
he lost his passport, didn't he, on the plane to Bodo?
Yeah.
So I mean, look, going out with Sean, I mean, it was dangerous. Bodo was obviously one day get there, get in, get out, and they kind of nearly missed the flight back, right? But a few days in Bilbao, I genuinely worry for that poor lad. So
he does. Hang on, who's messaging me? I get these emails every day about collaboration. Someone in China. Do I want to make £3,000? I'll read that later. I'm sure that's legit. Someone just messaging me saying, "Do you want £3,000?" Yeah, please. By the way, just quickly, it's like you could make £3,000. Oh, what have I got to do? Is this like a P Diddy type thing? What are we doing here? Spurs rule. I don't know if you watched the show earlier. Daniel Levy absolutely wants us to win this. Do you realize, we said in the show earlier, this could potentially be the difference between Daniel Levy making £100 million or not. Whatever you want to say about Daniel Levy, he liked the money, right? He likes money. And Lubo called it, guys. He said, Levy's going to be sitting there tomorrow like one of those chairmen in the playoff final. They are sitting there for 90 minutes, shitting their pants, going, this can make me nearly £100 million. So, yes, Levy does desperately want and need us to win it. And no, Tony, I'm not going to Bilbao. I'm not going to Bilbao.
He's not getting up at 3 a.m. with Lubo getting a...
No,
crazy.
I'm definitely
Lubo.
not.
Crazy Lubo. He's crazy. But yeah, look, I think you're right. It's on a knife edge. It's 100 million either way, right? Look, who can afford to lose that Champions League space the most? I don't think either team can afford to lose it, right? I think Man United are in more of a... Man United probably more have to win this more than maybe we do, because... Well,
hang on. I'll tell you what's changed my opinion on that in the last week since we discussed it, Dan. Do you remember? Man United, since like the day before a Europa League final, are finalising contracts for Matheus Cunha. And like that's what their levels are. We're signing Matisse Tells. They're signing Matheus Cunhas.
This is exactly what I said, yeah. For me, I mean, Man U might be in a bit of trouble with money at the moment, but we all know that Manchester United is a football club, not a business. We all know every football club is business and football club, yeah? But Man United are a football club. Spurs are a business, and that's all there is to it. Like it or lump it. Fact. Man U, even if they lose this within the next 2 years, will be able to have more of a chance of scraping their way back to the top, because they will pay treble the wages we will pay. They will pay double the money we will pay for players. They will still have attraction of being the biggest club in the world, or let's say 3 biggest clubs in the world. As far as I know, Man U are still globally the biggest club in the world. And they've got all those things on their side. They will be able to scrape their way out of this easier than Spurs. If we do not win this, we have got nothing. We are only Tottenham Spursy. That is all we are.
Yeah. And we're not trying any Matheus Cunhas.
Exactly. It
On the
will be
football
10
pitch,
times
yes.
harder to
And
attract
I
a
agree with
manager.
you on the football pitch, but I don't
We'll
agree
have
with you on the other side because
We'll have no
United
much
haven't
money.
even submitted their planning. When did they announce this
Yeah.
circus stadium?
And I guarantee, even if we
Right.
do win this, I bet you, Man, you still go out and buy players double the money that we do, or double, treble the wages. It's what they do. They will do it.
They can, but in
And
terms of everything offside the pitch, they won't be able to do that. They won't be able to build this brand spanking new stadium. They won't be able to.
No,
fix
I know that.
fix.
This stadium, again, this is where people don't take Daniel Levy seriously. He's a genius when it comes to money and business. He started building that at the perfect time, really, in a lot of ways, when money was low in every single way. The man had an option of something like a 200 million debt he was in, that he had a certain amount of time to pay it off, and it was something like a 9%. So over COVID, which is exactly what I did when I got a loan, because I knew everything was on the floor, he went and got another deal of 200 million to pay it off at something like 2.1% and paid the other debt off with it. That's what common sense does when you've got half a clue about how credit works. Not everybody does, because not everybody's into that sort of thing. And again, with Man U, them building a new stadium there, and you look at the prices of everything and anything, to build that Spurs stadium now would, in opinion, cost you about 2.5-3 billion. Because prices have gone up by treble at least on everything, whether it's mayonnaise, whether it's bricks, whether it's metal, whether it's whatever, people working, the whole lot. So one way or another, for Man U to build that stadium is going to take time anyway. But they are a global team. They have got income. And with that, they will still pay treble the wages we will pay. So we go for the same player, 60 mil a piece, both teams, whatever. Forget they're even in the Champions League. Man U will still slam down 250, 300 grand, where the most we'll do is 125 grand. Bang, there you go. Baked potato, players gone Man U. Plus, Man U have got history behind them. They are Manchester United. They will scrape their way out of this easier than Spurs. If Spurs don't win this, we're going to find it. I mean, why is Glasner going to come to Spurs now if we don't win it? He's in Europe with Palace, unless we offer him significantly more wages. Yep. No, I'm the first one, Nick, to say that money gets you whatever you want if you put the right money down. But on the technical side, why? He's in Europe. His team's more complete. We're going to have no money to spend whatsoever. We're not going to be able to attract players. We haven't got no history to back us up. This will damage us for the next 2 to 5 years in a big, big way, unless we get a manager in who gets this team together and manages to at least get us into the Europa next season. But if we get a manager in now who makes this team to what it should be, a top 7 fighting for a top 4 place, you've got to think all the other teams like Villa, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, they're all going to be spending the money as well to make themselves better. So we might get ourselves to the standard that we should be now, but they're already going to be a gear or two ahead of us because they're getting in the new players and that. So it's going to struggle to get past the 10. We need this more than Man U.
Romano's gone again this morning and said that the FIFA Cunha, it's a 62.5 million. Let me make sure if that's euros or pounds. It's a 62.5 million pound release clause that's going to be paid in installments. And this is the difference. Is you're right. Man United will still go out, even if Man U don't have European football next year. The lure of Man United, the brand, the name, they will still get the Mateus Cunhas, the Edisons, those types of players. They would still be able to attract a Glasner. Blah blah blah. You know, the Spurs is just not how we operate.
Exactly.
Spurs, we're already talking about, even if we get Champions League, people are talking about wanting to buy Matisse Tells. Like there's the levels between the two clubs. You know, Tell versus Cunha. Like that's the level that they're going to buy versus us. So for me, I'm leaning more and more towards this game's more important for us. But what we've got to make sure is that if we do get in the Champions League, we've got to have a coach, and we've got to have Paratici in place that can get a coach in the players that they need. And again, we know we're not going to go crazy with it, Nick. We know we're not going to go crazy with signings, but you don't need to. Scout properly, get what the manager needs, get what the manager needs in terms of profile. That's what we need. And this is why I said this earlier at the risk of repeating myself. Sorry, chat. I've never, ever known a game of football where so much rides on it for Tottenham Hotspur. People can tell me, I'll ask everybody, name me another Spurs game where so much was riding on it as much as this game tomorrow. I don't think the Champions League final did.
No, the difference is with this one,
it didn't.
And it's a bit of a sad one, but I'm just trying to look on this on a realistic manner. It's not even the cup that's important, that's the most important. It's the after effects. I mean,
Absolutely.
we need that. If Man U don't get the cup, they're just going to sit there and just go, that's one we've missed, basically. Look at their cabinet. We obviously desperately want this cup because we are Spurs and we have absolutely nothing to show for it. But it's the after effects of this cup which are going to be more powerful than standing there with the cup, basically.
Yeah, no, look, Daniel, look, 100%. I think it's like you said. I think we back and forth in the group and everything else. I think you said it the other day, Savva, or someone said it. I don't want to misquote someone. I'm sure you'll correct it, whoever said it. But someone like Polinia would make a massive difference to this team. We don't need to then, we don't with Polinia in the six and then a coach. I don't think we don't need to go and buy 5-6 players. Yes, we do to replace what we've got, but not immediately to fix what we fixed, because I think that any other manager or a coach, gets more out of this group of players, right?
But that's it. We talk about this is where I don't think football fans understand the difference between coaching and not. If you look at this team and I turn around and said to you, Spurs in the summer are going to buy Paulinho to sit in the six, right? Just using his name, for example, we're going to buy a top winger and a top centre forward. So 3 players, right? And I don't mean Solanke. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, go and buy a proper centre forward, a proper wide man that can beat his men, and the number 6. Straight away, I'm going, that's us. That's us 10, 11 places up the league table, right? That's us an extra 20, 25 points up the season, because now all of a sudden, all those transition goals, not as many of them are going in. You've got the number 6. Now, all of a sudden, when you're on those counter-attacks, you've got the winger that can beat the man. Now you've got a forward that scores goals. This is the difference for me, Dan. We've talked about this so much this year. When people say, just give Ange the players he wants, for me, it doesn't work because the system doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Put a 6 in there. Get a forward in there and a tricky winger. I think we've got the makings of a very good squad. I genuinely don't think it's as shit as everyone's saying it is.
No, it's not a great team. It's not. I mean, up front, I'd say is our weakest point. But again, it's repeating myself. I called this out over 19 months ago now. This team has just got screaming to play 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever way you put it, and play counter-attacking football. But then we go back to the part of, this is where I think you get a few older people involved in this, and also some others. But it's not the Spurs way. We play like this. It's not the Spurs philosophy. Well, stick the Spurs philosophy where the sun don't shine, because it ain't got us very far so far, has it? That's my opinion to it. I don't care about philosophies. I don't care about your history as a football club in the aspect of we have to play this way. Oh, what, am I not a true fan now? No, I just want to win. And this team for me is tenfold better on a counter-attacking style with 3 at the back. Yeah. Or even if we play 4 at the back, still counter-attacking football is how we've looked at our best. I couldn't give a shit about philosophy and history of how Spurs play. Because if this is our philosophy and history of how Spurs play, well, it hasn't been done very well, has it?
Why? Yeah. Sorry, by the way, are you talking about Cunha as a huge gamble? Because if you offered me Cunha in this Spurs team, I'm taking him all day, every day, and he'd be our best footballer. I don't. Sanikush, explain that. Are we doing that thing where when other clubs buy players, it's always a risk? When we buy players, we want to elevate them to be the greatest footballers in the world. Look, I stand by it. For me, this is the biggest game I've seen. This is bigger than the Champions League final. Now, people who can only think in one way will not understand what I'm saying. Yes, the Champions League is bigger in itself. as I said earlier, Nick, when we were in the Champions League final, we'd already finished fourth in the Premier League. So we already had Champions League revenue for the next year guaranteed. Plus, we already had the Champions League revenue for that year of getting to the final. This game is very different. And no, I'm not an accountant. I just understand that money is needed to buy things. It's like, you know, I want to build an outhouse at the end of my garden. I need money to do it, believe it or not. It doesn't just grow on trees. So, yeah, I think this is huge. This is so big, so big.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, that's where I think it's gonna go one way or another, right? And I think this is, you know, yeah, exactly, 100%. Look, I just think it's.
Okay.
I think we just need to not worry about whatever's happening is happening. I just want it realistically. I just want it to be kind of 24 hours time, right? Because 72 hours or whatever it is, 11 o'clock Wednesday evening, and we'll know either way. And then, like you said, Savva, I was listening to you earlier. You said there's either going to be the fallout, or it's going to be right now. What's next? Because
right.
And I even said it earlier. I said, if he loses, does he even make Sunday? I'm not too sure.
I think he does. I think he does, because do you know what? Listen, call me an old fuddy duddy. Whatever we think about Ange, he would have done 2 seasons at the club, taken us to a cup final. If he loses, let him do the Brighton game, and he gets to walk around the clap. And listen, I'm not a heartless, horrible bloke, but what I do want to see is, if that happens, I do want to see that the immediate week after that, I want to see that Daniel Levy has moved him on. And we have got Paratici coming through the door and a new coach. Well, we know Paratici's coming, and a new manager. Having said that, I want to see that whether we win it or not. Do the bus parade. A few days later, I want to see that Spurs and Ange have parted ways. Doesn't have to be a sacking. I think it will be a mutual agreement. I genuinely do.
Yeah, I think. Look, again, if we look at it, I think, you know, like you're saying, if we're going to be like respectful, if he does deliver the first trophy in 17 years and the first European trophy in over 40, then you probably say to him, look, mate, whatever you want to say, it's on your terms. You know, you go and say what you want to say. It's not going to be a typical Spurs, Ange has been sacked and that's the leak. You know, there'll obviously be a press conference being held, and then Ange gets to say what Ange gets to say. You know, and I think I think it potentially could sit there. Who would blame him? Really, he could sit there and go, done what I said, won a trophy in the second season. I'm out of here. See you later.
You know what? If he goes and wins this trophy, I will be able to put this season aside. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, you got to put the season aside, because it's the past. It's done. It's dusted. You can't change it. You're never going to change it.
But I just don't want to see it again, Dan.
No, exactly. That's what I'm
right. You know, I can put it aside. I don't want to see it again. That's all it is.
And if people remember, I actually said at the start of the season, this man has got the capability of winning a cup. This style of football can win a cup. But over 38 games, it's not happening. Give me the best team in the world. It ain't happening. You are not winning a league playing this style of football. You will concede too many goals. But you can win a cup.
Mike. Sorry, Dan. Sorry. Shut. What do you mean? What does this mean? What have I said, Mike, that isn't getting behind them? I don't get this. You're clearly a grown man from your picture. What have I said? We're sitting here and discussing, how do we beat them? We're sitting here and discussing, what's the fallout if we don't? What's the fallout if we do? Why do fans like you not want analysis? Do you want me to just sit here and go, we're winning? Who's going to play tomorrow? Don't care, we're winning.
And
it's
then
a football
sit here and shut
channel.
up for the next hour.
It's a football chat. Stop saying such ridiculous, childish things. What do you mean you understand this is my profession? What's that got to do with the price of anything?
Savva, another thing I feel, yeah, and it's no disrespect to anybody. Some people just get more interested in other things in a different way. Some people just want to watch football and good football. That's all they do.
Sure.
They want to watch football. And that's no disrespect to them. That's all they want to do. People like me, people like you, people like Nick, Stel, Alex, and Mike, and the list can go on. actually assess football deeper. Why? I can speak for myself. I've got a level 2 in coaching, goalkeeper and pitch. Yeah, might be a long time ago, but I've still got the level 2 in it. I like to go deeper on it. I like to assess the situation. I like to then assess the tactics. Now, what tactics do we use? Where do we need to adapt and go deeper actually into it? Because football is like an iceberg. When you watch the game, you only see the tip when it goes down so much deeper, basically. That's the way I see it. And some people will just have the attitude of shut up and just go for the team because they don't look on the iceberg any deeper. And there's no disrespect to them. They just don't like or don't know all the strategy sides, adapting sides, and everything else.
I think for me, yeah, look, you're right. I think for me, we've all said it. We've all said what we've wanted. We've all said about Ange at the start, and some of us have changed whether they wanted him there, whether they wanted it to work, whether they wanted this, they wanted that. All that everyone needs to know, whether you're Ange in, Ange out, Enoch in, Enoch out, none of that matters tomorrow. As soon as that whistle goes, we all want Spurs to win. Yeah, we don't want to sit here and go, oh well, if Spurs don't win, that's going to prove. We want to sit here. I want to sit here and I want Sonny to come on, score the winning goal, and to put me in the absolute mud for the fraud that I am. With him scoring the winning goal. Why? Because I can sit there and say that. I can sit there and say I'm happy about that. I don't care about it. But we all want Tottenham to win, and we all want everything to be realistic. We don't want to sit here and just go. It's like Man City up until this season. What they did? Oh, okay, guys, what can we talk about? Oh, we won another trophy. Okay, streams ended. That's great. Everything's positive.
I don't understand.
Not everything's positive, guys. If you can sit there and say 21 league losses with 22 probably incoming, the way that Brighton played last night, if you want to sit there and say that's fine, but we park that to one side. We park that coach. We park that bus. We do whatever. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Lubo is... For once, I have to agree with Lubo. He's going to sit there and enjoy it because do you know what? We don't get to enjoy. We can't have nice things at Tottenham. Yeah. So let's try and enjoy it.
You know what I don't understand, Nick? What I've never understood, right? Ever in all the time I've been on YouTube. Millions of people every night tune in across thousands of Spurs YouTube channels, of football YouTube channels. Millions of people, right? And yet, if you don't say what some want, you're negative or you're toxic. If you do say what people like, then you're positive and a good fan. And what I don't get is, what do they want to watch the shows, they want to tune in, but they need everything to be, oh, that's all right, don't worry, you finished last in the egg and spoon race, that's all right, don't worry. Like, it's madness. There are thousands of channels. Everyone's got their different thing, but so many football channels go in depth with football. They want to talk about the tactics. I want to look at what Man U are doing. I want to look at the history. And yet when we do it at Spurs, you've got idiots like Mike Warmington going, just get behind the team. This notion, get behind the team or fuck off, this has to stop. This is ridiculous. You're allowed to talk about eventualities. You're allowed to talk about tactics. You're allowed to talk about who is the other day I saw someone, and it's not who you think, it's not, or everyone said it's not who you think it is. I saw a YouTuber the other day in their show say about me, I saw Savva was toxic again today, talking about how Bruno Fernandes will be the best player on the pitch. Why is that toxic to acknowledge that a serial winner like Bruno Fernandes, who gets all the goals and assists, will probably be the best player? Like, everything is toxic. So what we're allowed to say, gentlemen, is Spurs are it's going to be 5-0. It's going to be 5-0. Yeah, Tell should play. He's going to score a hat-trick. We won't concede. There's no way United... That's what we're allowed to say. I just don't understand why people watch football channels. I don't... People like Mike, just childish. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
sorry,
Kate's right. Kate's right. If you want delusion, it's good old Jimbo, you know? He'll say...
Yeah, go and see Jim. Yeah.
He'll probably say, we're going to win 5-1, 4-1 tomorrow night. If it happened, do you know what? For Jim, I would love that to happen tomorrow night, because that means that he would be vindicated. He could sit and go, well, I got the final right. I mean, you know, like I said, and I said it before, I can forgive what's happened this season in the league, but I can't forget it. We can't forget We can't forget it. We can forgive it if he delivers a trophy and gives us what we've all been craving for. And for these new age fans like Matty K, who thinks, I don't know, everything's done like FIFA. I just, you know, that's the problem, Savva. This is what the problem is. When we all went to school, there was winners and losers. If you were doing sports day, first, second, or third, none of this. Well done for taking part. That's the problem that we've.
It's true.
That's the problem with where we've got with the kids. The kids come home. Oh, I done this. They said, "Well done." Well, I'm not saying well done. I'm not praising you. You need to toughen up. You can't go into life and go in the outside world where it's you know, where everything is sunshines, rainbows, unicorns, and everything else.
Totally agree.
And that's where it's come from. You have to be. You don't. There needs to be balance. There needs to be opinion. There's right and wrong. Everyone's had different opinions. Everyone thinks that the amount of times that everyone that's come on has disagreed and done all these things. Oh, here he is. Here he is, old Lumo. He's getting excited. I can look at his face. Look at Lumo's face. He's
morning, Nick.
Lumo.
Very exciting.
Lumo is going to be in Bilbao. Just like, oh my God, this is it. Let's just, you know.
Yeah, Lubo's a shit fan. He's going to Bilbao, but still wants Ange out. How do you make those two things work, Lubo? You fraud, you toxic man.
I know, but he is leaving in though, isn't he, Savva?
I'm really sorry, Sam. I'm sorry. Do you know what? I shouldn't be on this Ange podcast, should I? Because you guys are massive Ange.
Ange, Levy in, Enoch in, Donna Colour in, Munning, all of them in.
Relegation next season in. You know, the whole lot. Go the whole way. Absolutely.
I mean, out of a question then, just a question for everyone. This is one that really gets me. I mean, again, we've all got our own perception of how we do things, whatever. What is backing your team? What is backing someone you love? What is actually backing someone? Is it just sitting there blindly and saying, you're doing good, you're doing fine, go for it, when you know they're totally cocking their life right up? Or do you pull them back and just give them a heavy home truth of, you ain't doing it right, I'm trying to help you here now, maybe you should try this, this, and this? Or do you just sit back and back your friend and back your team and say, even though we've lost 20 this, 20 that, whatever, and even though you're ruining your career or whatever else, I'm just going to back you all the way? For me, backing someone is when you sit there and you want the best for them, when you want them to win at whatever they're doing, whether it's a club or whether it's a person. That is what backing someone is for me. Fine, on the pitch, even if you've got crap players, this and that, you still back the team, you scream for the team to win. The example I can give is if my daughter goes and gets with some dodgy fella, whatever, am I now just going to sit back and back her because she's fallen in love with him?
How old's your daughter, by the way, Dan?
Coming on for 20.
Oh, so too old for Matty K. He seems like a nice lad.
She would eat him alive. and that's just with personality.
Maybe she could take Matty K under her wing. Give her some of the South. Give him some of the South London tough love.
And in that aspect, do I now sit back and just back my daughter because she loves the fella, or do I sit back and try? At the end of the day, it's her decision what she does, but try and give her some parental advice of like, this ain't the right man for you because of this, and this. If she still decides to do it, that's her call at the end of the day. Or do I just sit back and say, shut up, like I shut up and I back you because you love the person? What is backing someone? Backing a team, backing a club. Please explain.
Well, also, just quickly, Lubo, just quickly before you come in. Sorry, Definitely Main. I never know his real name, but Definitely Main made an absolute wonderful, wonderful point. And he said, let me see if I can get it word for word. He said, the people that say just back your team. There you go. These people say just back the team, then throw our players under the bus to defend Ange. Right, this is it. Just back the team. But when Spurs lose game after game after game, it's Ange wasn't backed. Look at the poor players he's got. Oh, hang on. So we only have to back the team when it's Ange, not the players as well. Lubo, this fan base has gone bananas. We haven't even said anything negative, and we've still got people saying that there's negativity.
Well,
mad.
Tomorrow night, I'm backing the whole lot. I'm getting behind the coaching, the managers, the players. What I
Say
think
it.
of is what
Say
I think
it.
of is.
Say it. Say it.
No, tomorrow I'm back in Ange. Absolutely.
Hang on. Say it.
Say what?
Tomorrow I'm getting behind everyone. The manager,
Everyone.
the coaches, Ange, Dan.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Daniel
Not everyone though, is it?
No.
Daniel Coys.
Oh no. Not going that far. Everything to do with the match. No.
What if we win, Lubo? Are you going to give Daniel Levy his props?
No, I'm not. Not interested. Because when he shows interest in the football team, then I'll change my opinion.
Well, you could say, Lubo, that he would have if we win a trophy.
Well, you can win. You can be lucky rather than committed. Big difference.
Oh, Lubo, you're doing so well. Now you've gone down that rabbit hole.
No, big difference. I want to see commitment from him. He's never shown a day's commitment to our football club and success in our football team.
2 European finals in 6 years.
In spite of him, not because of him. Let's
How
get it clear.
Lubo gets about Levy. I love it.
Let's get it clear.
I love it. You know we're winding you up, and you still
No. Wind me up or not.
Does Lubo get more angry about Archie?
I'm nailing my
Levy.
Here's a solid question then, Ian. Here's a solid question. Right, Levy is the problem. Levy is whatever. Levy is this and that and everything else, and the reason we haven't won anything. So if we do go and win this, then the players deserve credit, Ange deserves credit, and Levy gets credit.
Sorry, I can't agree.
Well, then you're contradicting everything you've ever said.
I can't agree because he's
Then
not interested in success.
Right, but if you want to blame Levy,
he's just got lucky.
Oh,
Ian, that's it.
You cannot sit there. It has to work both ways. There is always an up and down. There is always love and hate. There is always left and right. There is always two sides, if not four sides, to a bloody story. If you're going to sit here along with a lot of us and say it's Levy's fault that we've only won a trophy in 17 years, it's Levy's fault we don't do this, it's Levy's fault we don't do that, but then we go and win a European trophy, we're going to say well done to the players. Angie's going to deserve the credit he gets, whether it was the easiest walk there or not is irrelevant. He's actually gone and won us a cup. And Levy is part of that as well. Then you can say Levy, the problem we've had all season is because Levy employed the man who then had the crap season, but he's also then employed the man who won us a Europa Cup. So
okay.
He's got you, Lubo. Lubo, you're on the ropes. Dan's swinging. You're on the ropes, mate.
I will compromise there. At the moment, it's one trophy in 24 years, which is absolutely disgraceful. If it's two trophies in 25, it's slightly less than disgraceful.
Okay,
so can I ask you this?
There's my compromise. There's my compromise.
So I need to ask you this.
Go on.
So when Spurs lost it on penalties in the League Cup final against Man United, are you blaming that on Daniel Levy?
I think had he backed the managers and got better players who take better penalties, we might have won it. There you go.
We watched Leyton Orient the other night score 4 or 5 superb penalties, right? Leyton Orient players. Look, I agree, right? So, listen, you know how I feel about this, right? I look at all of these finals and I think some, the sacking Jose before a final, Levy, take that. Hold that. That's your, as the kids say, there's the L. I love that. There's the L. Right? Losing to Man United on penalties in a final, that can't be attributed to Daniel Levy. So we're saying Daniel Levy's got us all the way there to a penalty shootout. We've lost. That's not on Levy. Poch in the final of the Champions League. Sorry, I think the man had a mare. I think the man had a mare. I think he got the tactics wrong. I think he got the lineup wrong. Before that, who did we lose to? I think we lost another one to Chelsea in the final.
Better players. City, better players.
Yeah.
Liverpool, better players.
Yeah, but okay.
So
Lubo, why? Okay, I'm going to blow your argument wide out the water.
Go on.
All right. Crystal Palace at the weekend beat Man City, right? Crystal Palace signing people like Munoz for 8 million, Lacroix for 15 million, whatever he cost, right? Mitchell from the youth team, Eze was peanuts from QPR, right? If we're going to do this, are we saying that if Crystal Palace had lost the final, they could turn around and go, it's our chairman, he didn't give us as good a players as Man City?
No, they can't, because you're in that situation. You've got two clubs with completely different revenue streams, but two clubs that are pushing the boundaries to make sure that their teams are the best they can give. And that's so you got two clubs there that both want, two chairmen that both want success.
Sure, okay, but then how did Crystal Palace beat Man City then in the final?
Why? Because they bought some very, very good players. They bought a good coach who's bringing them up and up and up. And the gap between City and Palace was like that last season, and it's come right down to that this season.
I mean, sure,
this wasn't like a Wigan Man
is,
City, Sav. This wasn't Wigan Man City, Sunderland, Leeds, Southampton, Man United, Ipswich, Arsenal. It wasn't like that. Palace are a bloody good team.
Yeah, I'm not doubting it. Okay, so let's use your theory. Palace are a good team. They're a good team. No more, no less. They're a good team. They're a well-coached team. So in the finals then, when Spurs are playing City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, you would turn around and also say, hang on, this isn't Wigan v Liverpool. Tottenham played Liverpool when we were fourth in the Premier League table. So we had good enough players to get Champions League football, but not good enough to beat Liverpool in a one-off game.
But if you look at teams and you say, if both turn up, who's going to win? The better team are going to win every time.
Well, the better team didn't win at the weekend. Okay, so let me chuck 3 times this year, right? Here we go.
Go on.
3 cup finals this year. Newcastle, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, who were favourites?
Liverpool.
Right. Bologna, AC Milan the other night, who were favourites?
Well, obviously Bologna, because any team with Emerson Royal in the team, forget.
Shameless. Right, AC Milan were favourites. Man City, Palace, who were favourites?
Well, City would be.
Right. So you've got 3.
Hang on.
No. Hang on.
Palace did to Villa in the semi-final.
Hang on.
Look what they did to Villa.
Sure. You've got 3 teams that have already won trophies this year. Hang on. Go Ahead Eagles just won a trophy in the Netherlands, right? 4 examples within the last 3 months of clubs that have beaten a better team than them to win a trophy. So why are all the examples of when Spurs have lost Levy's fault?
Because we should have had better players with the money we've got. With the money we've got, there's no excuse that our squads were not up to the same level as the teams that beat us. There is no excuses. We've got the money. We're the most profitable Premier League club since the Premier League started.
But you're not answering my question.
There is no excuse for owners who won't take the risk.
But you're not answering my question.
Of trying to push the team in. And
you're not answering my question.
Answer the question.
In a one-off game, why are these clubs, hang on, in one-off games, why were all of those clubs able to pull it off? Spurs never do. Why? That's not Levy, is it?
We did in 2008. We beat a better Chelsea team who reached the European Cup final in Moscow.
Yeah, so we did in 2008.
We did on that occasion, but we didn't.
Okay, so why couldn't we do it in the Champions League final or the League Cup final or the League Cup final against Man United? You do see how this works both ways, right? If I'm devil's advocate here.
Okay. I'm talking big picture. You're just talking on the day. I'm talking that I feel that if he had the best interests of the football team at heart, then he would have made more effort to have gone in and bought better players.
I agree.
And we wouldn't be in a situation where you got Kolo Muani, who won't even look at Tottenham. We're third, but we may as well be 20th when he's looking at Juventus, Man United or Spurs.
Sure.
Because we haven't won a trophy for 17 years and we're so irrelevant now. That's why this is absolutely key that we win.
I agree. By the way, Luba, I agree with you.
That's down to the
point. But your point wasn't about the bigger picture. You started by saying 1 trophy in 25 years is poor, 2 in 25 will be slightly better. But my point was, on the day, there's been opportunities for Spurs to make that 4 trophies in 24 years. No?
You've watched Spurs the last 24 years. How would you describe that era?
I would say that we're the nearly men of football.
Underachievers, would you say? Underachievers.
Lubo, I don't disagree with you that we're underachievers, but
we can't turn around like Crystal Palace and say, but we haven't got the money to compete with the boys at the top. We can't pay the same wages as them. We don't get the same revenue coming in, but Tottenham do.
But for the way we play,
in the league, I agree with you. In the cups, as I said, in the last, what did we work out the other day? It's something like 15 semi-finals and 7 finals in 24 years. The opportunities have been there to win more trophies. So I'm asking you, if we win tomorrow night and that had made it 4 or 5 trophies in 24 years, would your stance on Daniel Levy be different?
If we had 5 trophies in 25 years, then he would be mirroring the previous 40 years virtually, when we won 9 trophies in 40 years.
Sure.
If we win tomorrow, does that not make us overachievers this season?
Does that make us overachievers this season? I think, well, that's if you think that we're at the level of 17th in the league, Dan.
Well, there's no think about it. We are.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be, but we are. So technically, if our manager has been that bad that Levy bought, so it's on his head because he bought him, you've said it enough times, same as others.
Yeah.
We have totally underachieved this season in the league and finished 17th because of him. So technically, on how bad we've been this season, if we go and win this, on another technical side, we've overachieved, and Levy has brought a man in that actually got us a cup, and if not a cup, but a European cup.
Well, you're not going to change me.
No, I know. It's just funny.
It's an interesting thing, and people turn around and say I'm completely wrong, and that's fair enough. I just feel so strongly that we have underachieved as a team. We're the banter team, and why are we the banter team? If you look deeply into it, let's take out this cup run. Take it out. Let's look at the league. Let's look at the league since November. 32 defeats in. Is it 33 now in 65? 33 defeats.
One last question. One last question on this before I bring in Alex. One last question. By the way, you lot smash the like button. How tight? We're meant to be in a cup final tomorrow. 271 people. Smash that like button. Look, last question, Lubo. If we had won the Champions League, right?
Yes.
And Poch had actually decided that he could remember how to coach and manage and pick the right team on that day, would our feelings right now towards Daniel Levy be very different? The fact that the guy could potentially have a Europa League under our belts and the Champions League in the space of 6 years. Is it? And this is for me, this is the question, Lubo, because we're 180 minutes, if you add those 2 games together, of Daniel Levy winning both European Cups in 6 years. And how many teams achieve that? So would it be different if he had won that Champions League? Would it be very different how we all feel about Daniel Levy?
I think you've got to say that you soften your stance a little bit.
Sure.
You
agree with me? It's on Poch, not Levy.
I think that when you are going into a midfield, when your midfield in a Champions League final is Winks and Sissoko, then I think you've got to look at how come the manager hasn't been backed and brought in 2 better midfield players. Yes, you agree?
They're no Archie Grays, though, are they, Savva? Let's be honest, those 2.
No, they're not. No, that's correct.
Who played in the semi-finals and quarter-finals of the Champions League for Spurs in midfield, please?
I think we got very fortunate to get through those, didn't we?
Oh, here we go. Right.
We were very fortunate. We were very fortunate to get through. And if, as I say, if we'd have had stronger players in that midfield, then maybe the end result would have been the same. But they wouldn't have taken us to the 96th minute in Amsterdam, and it wouldn't have needed a VAR decision to get us through at City. So
Hang on, I'm checking the teams. Because
can I just put this in? Can I just put this in though? That season we were playing at Wembley for 2 seasons with Pochettino, right? Ange has got no excuses. I'm sorry, we're not doing this with the whole thing about comparing Ange to Pochettino. Pochettino did a lot with that coaching stuff. Yes, he made his mistakes, but there was a lot of circumstances around it. With him playing at Wembley, money, right? Not signing anybody. Yes, that's his fault, but at the same time, look at what the things that were going around him as well, and he still got on with it, right? So we're not doing this with Ange, right? Because you know what I mean. And let's be honest here.
You tell him, Box. You tell him.
If Pochettino won that Champions League, we'll not even hear a dicky bird about Ange. I'm sorry, we're getting better manager than Ange.
Yeah, but hang on. I'm not sure how that links into what we were talking about. I'm not sure.
I'm saying the
point. It's a great diversion. Brilliant.
We're making a point. Don't do that, Savva. You know, I'm being actually sensible here. I'm just.
What do you mean? Don't do what? This has got nothing to do with Ange. We're talking about Daniel Levy. We're not talking about Ange.
You're making about Daniel Levy, yes, but I'm just saying because you made some digs at Pochettino at that time, and I'm saying at the moment we're not doing this with this whole thing about Pochettino. Right, because let's be honest. Yes, he messed up in that final, right? Yeah. But I'm just saying at the moment that there was a lot of things that were happening around Pochettino that he dealt with and got on with it. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Well, okay, at Wembley, he was at Wembley for 2 seasons. What's Ange done? He's been at a stadium.
But I'm not making this Poch v Ange. I don't know what.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But anyway, back to your point.
Alex, hang on. Sorry,
the Champions League final, and Alex has linked that with Poch. That's what he's done.
I understand that, but listen, when you are in a Champions League final, I'll bring Barry and Dan in here as well. I want to get everyone's. When you're in a Champions League final, Wembley now doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. Any of the transfers you've had doesn't mean anything. None of the backing and the whatever means anything. League position doesn't mean anything. You're in the final. It's a one-off game. The one-off game had nothing to do with, but he had to negotiate Wembley. What? So he negotiated it well enough to get us to the final of the Champions League, but the final was one step too far. I'm sorry, we're not doing that. Alex, you're all guns blazing. My guns are bigger than your guns. Nah.
I never said that, but
hang on, Alex,
but you're saying about he negotiated Wembley. What's that got to do with anything?
I'm saying that he earned a lot more respect than you're saying at the moment. Yes, he messed up in the final. I didn't say that he didn't mess up in the final, right? But at the same time, he had a lot more that was against him, and he didn't complain as much as this guy's complained about his injuries. Right, which again he's still going on about it, by the way. Right,
I've never disagreed with that.
But I'm not trying to get away from the point what you're saying to Lubo, about the whole thing about Levy. I hear what you're saying about Levy. I'm not, because he has to get credit. If we're gonna, I think, yeah, you've got a good point there that Levy should get credit if we do win this final as well, because Ange's getting credit when he's been bang average this season, right? And the players are getting credit when they've not been great and we're 17th. Levy should get credit as well. So I do hear your point, Sav, but I'm trying to keep on what we're saying at the moment. That's what I'm saying. But I just didn't agree with that point about Pochettino.
Whether people like it or lump it, whether you, the way I work, I can speak for myself. I will rip into anyone when I feel fit. But there's also certain times, whether you like the player, whether you like the person, whether you like whatever, or whether you don't, you got to give credit where credit is due. Johnson is one of them prime ones. I think he's a dreadful player. I think he's awful. But you have to give him credit where credit is due, that he has banged in 17 goals this season, no matter how he's done it. If he wouldn't have done those 17 goals, we would actually probably be in the relegation bit, yeah? So like it or lump it, for me, it works both ways. You have to give credit where credit is due. So if Levy is getting slandered and absolutely ripped apart for everything he doesn't do for this club and everything he hasn't won for us and that, which is totally, I'm on that side, whether you like it or not, you can't just sit there and say, right, I'm going to give the team credit even though they've been crap. I'm going to give the manager credit even though they go crap. But the owner, you're a complete dickhead. I don't like you. I ain't giving you no credit.
Yeah, no matter what happens, you're a dickhead.
Yeah, to me, that makes a person look more of a mug.
Right.
Sometimes you have to stand back.
No.
And you have to put your hands up, and you have to accept defeat sometimes and say, do you know what? Okay, you got it for us. But I expect better now because you've showed you can do it. I'm not letting you off for the past 25 years, but here's my moment of giving you credit where it's due.
I'll answer you there, Dan. I'll answer you. This is not a situation where you've got a chairman who is totally committed to the club, knows and understands what he's doing. Hang on, brings in the best person possible for the job, who then brings in the best manager for the job, who then coaches the team as well as he could and wins a trophy. At that point, you turn around and you say, do you know what? That's absolutely brilliant from the top right the way down to the bottom. What we've got here is a chairman who's completely clueless about football. And because he's so clueless, he brought in Scott Munn, who is as clueless about what he needed to do for this club. May not be clueless with his skill set, but not for this club. Right. And then because he's so clueless, he brought in a shocking manager. I'm sorry, if we come away and win this trophy, and nobody will be happier than me if we win tomorrow night. Then Levy has got lucky. He hasn't won,
but then he's done the job. But he's still done the job.
He got lucky.
He might have got a lucky.
Let's not turn around, Dan, and say he was fantastic.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you have to give credit where credit is due. Because at the end of it, with everything you've just said, if Ange goes and does it, he's employed the right person to win a cup.
As I said, I won't look on him quite as badly because it's 2 trophies in 25 instead of 1 in 24.
Ian, no one's going to sit there and say, "Oh my God, Lubo, I can't believe you've given Levy some praise." Someone will sit there and go, "Lubo, fair play to you for giving someone the props that they deserve."
Sometimes you have to step back and just, I won't say admit defeat, but sometimes you've got to step back and say, do you know what, fella? Fair play. We got us this. Now I expect more. You've got to give credit where it's due. Otherwise, if you just keep ripping into someone, even if it's like if we just sit here and keep ripping into a player, ripping into the manager, ripping into the owner non-stop, and then they actually go and do something and we still rip into them, to me, that makes everyone on here look like a mug. But you've got to sit there and give credit where credit is due. Whether it was lucky, whether it was whatever, we got what we wanted.
I gave Levy credit when he brought Paratici in, and I saw what Paratici was doing, and I said that was probably for me his best decision.
Dan, on your point saying that he needs credit, right? He gets credit every year when he gets the bonus he gets is every single year. So,
but I'm not talking about that credit.
But you were saying about credit. That's great. That's like I said. I don't think it really matters to me at the moment when he's getting all that money. So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm getting all that money, well, I wouldn't really care if I get that much credit.
So we all rip into him then because he wins nothing and gets nothing for the club. But the time the club do actually get something, he still gets no credit either. You're contradicting yourselves.
Yeah,
okay,
Alex,
well, great.
Alex,
I hear your point.
The credit is his salary, and the bonus is what he's getting bonused on. So it's not credit. He's not getting. It's not. Oh, you're not getting credit at work because you're getting paid for doing your job, Alex. You're getting credit because that's what you're paid to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like me saying that. Oh, I should get credit for. People should get credit for the jobs that they do. You know what I mean? They don't get credit.
I should get credit for putting this show on today.
It's like for me, it's like, yeah, you're doing your job. Thank you very much. You should have done that a long time ago. You know what I mean? So I can hear what Ian's saying.
Is Daniel Levy in his job descriptions? Does it say has to win a trophy? I don't think it does.
No, it's not has to win a trophy.
No, has to be Nick. Has to be committed. Has to be committed. That's all I agree.
As well.
That's all I ask.
But
trophies are no.
But the point is, if he delivers a trophy, how can you argue that he's not being committed? He's put the people in, the manager in. The manager's got the players that he's wanted. He's given Ange the money for his players. The fans have said we don't want to sack him. He hasn't sacked him and done what he's done with everyone else. So how can you argue that he's not being committed? Because he's given every fan what they want.
Exactly what they asked for, the majority of the fans. And this is what I've been saying the whole time. And you all know I ain't no Levy lover, far from it. But I try to be a realistic and fair person in life. And at the end of the day, okay, I'll go with you so far, Ian, and you can tell it's luck. Yeah. But that's where you still turn around and say, you lucky bastard, but fair play.
But we're not going to be doing this. Kissing his backside though.
No one said you have to do that.
Alex, you need to sit there and say,
no, that's not the way I'm saying.
No,
everyone should be able to sit there.
Yeah, I recognise the points you're making, Dan. That's fine. But we're not going to go as far as what you're saying at the moment, though.
So, because I'm saying that someone deserves a bit of credit, is kissing their ass.
It's not. No, hang on. Can I bring this back to? Hang on. Yeah. Hang on. Let's bring this back to a level of what Dan is saying is right. If Daniel Levy has overseen the times where we say, hate this owner, he's got to go, by the way, which I agree with, then surely for the night, for the summer, you're allowed to say credit where it's due. He gave a manager enough to win a Europa League. Now, people are paying to go. People are paying for flights. People are paying for hotels. They're going to watch the game. Daniel Levy has put everything in place that allows that. Now, that's not me saying that Daniel Levy's done enough to make us champions and that Daniel Levy hasn't done a bad job. But in the moments where it is fine, and it's the same with Ange. Do I want Ange to stay because we win the Europa League? No. Will I credit Ange and say, well done? Yes. Surely we're on two different fields here. Surely it's okay to say, well, hang on, the manager's given the owners, given the manager enough players to win the Europa League. We can't argue that. If we win it, we can't argue that. Even if we don't win it, we can't argue that really, because it's Man United who everyone beats. So surely just a bit of credit is allowed, isn't it?
If you're saying to me, I will say, well done, Dan, you lucky bastard. then fair enough. But don't ask me to say, we've won this trophy because you actually know what you're doing.
I didn't say that at all.
No one has said that.
And you know what? If you can only be lucky for so long. Talent in companies and know-how keeps companies at the top. You can be lucky, you can have a couple of good years in business, but if you are not doing the right things, the right principles of business, and you bring in the right people, then sooner or later your luck is going to run out.
Very true.
And what I want here is for Levy to step, if he's not going to go, and for heaven's sake, please go, take your £1 billion and just leave and let someone come in who we know, someone who comes in and spends billions on the club isn't going to come in as a charity, as a benefactor. He is going to come in to make a profit, but at least sell it to someone who is committed, who wants success and profit, which is great. That's
I
all
don't
I want.
disagree with
That's
any.
all I want.
I feel like
if he's going to say, stay out of football, stay out of it. Let somebody who knows football come in, run it. Like City brought in the guy from I can't think of his long name. Brought the guy in from Barcelona to run. Sheikh Mansour, right? Understood his own capabilities, and Mansour brought in the Barcelona guy, and look how well City have done under his guidance and his. That's all I'm asking. But he won't do it. He's got his hands all over everything, and we're a banter club.
I don't think you, and especially Terry O'Shea, Terry, I love you, dude, but you're not getting what I'm saying. I'm not saying, Daniel Levy's chairman of the year and keep him for another 10 years. All I'm saying is, if we are going to berate people when they fail, we've got to praise them when they succeed. Like, I can't berate Angepostecoglou tomorrow night for winning a Europa League. I can't. I can berate him for the league. I can berate him for the other cups, and I can still say I want him gone. But equally, it has to work the same way with Daniel Levy. If Daniel Levy's we're going to turn around and go, awful owner. Sure, I agree. Hasn't implemented this or that. Yeah, I agree. Hasn't given managers what they need to go and kick us on. Yeah, I agree. But he's still got us to the biggest two European Cup finals in the space of 6 years, right? And if he wins one of them, 1 out of 2 isn't bad. And surely for the week, you can turn around and go, fair play. It can't always be bad.
One way.
It can't always be that it's dread. Because what are we saying? Hang on, Lubo. Let me finish. Right? Are we saying then that we go on and win the Champions League next year with Daniel Levy as owner because a coach comes in, has a brilliant cup run like Poch did, but wins the final? Are we then going to go, okay, well, you've won the Europa League and Champions League back to back? Is now Daniel Levy getting credit, even though for 25 years we only won one in 25? Like, where's the cut-off line between praise and...
One other to add to you. Think of it this way, yeah? Do we all agree on here that Timo Werner is a shit player and been absolute dog shit when he plays for us?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But if he scores the winning goal in the final...
So if Timo Werner was, example, I know he can't, he's not in the team, he's injured and that, but if Timo Werner was to come on the pitch and score in the 98th minute or something and win us the game, would you give him credit for scoring that goal, or would you turn around and say you've been dog shit since you've been here, so you ain't getting no credit?
You know what? Yeah, I'll say this. The way it'll say is, okay, brilliant, we'll give you credit, but you got to do better. You have to make sure you're doing better next time as well.
Exactly. So you would give him credit for scoring that goal that win us the game, but you'd still say you're a crap player. You'd still say this and that. But for that moment in time, you would give credit where it's due.
Yeah. And it's the same thing I'll do with Vange. It's the same thing I'll do with Vange, and the same thing I'll do with Levy.
That's our point, Alex. That's been our whole point.
Yeah. No,
exactly.
I'm saying.
If Timo Werner scored the winner in a cup final, right? My stance isn't, do you know what? God, sign that lad on a permanent. My stance
know what I mean?
Brilliant. You've scored. If Brennan Johnson scores the winner in a cup final tomorrow night, I don't suddenly think he's a great player.
No.
I don't care who scores the winner in a cup final for Tottenham. I don't care if it's a Harry Maguire own goal because it's hit his backside and gone in.
What about Archie Gray?
I don't care if Archie Gray scores a winner tomorrow. It doesn't change my opinion on what I've said about him as a footballer. But I will praise him for great Archie, right place, right, whatever the goal is.
Absolutely.
Just a quick question.
Go on.
Just a quick question. Would you call them legends though if they win this trophy? Because I've heard a few people saying if we win this trophy, then all those 11 are legends.
No, they are not.
I think because of how bad it's been in the Premier League, I can't call these players legends. I can't. They will go in the history books. They will be remembered. They will be willed out in 10, 15, 20 years' time at half time of games. They will be doing corporate dinner events. Sure, no one's going to take that away from them. But I can't turn around and say, oh, my God, Brennan Johnson's a legend. I can't turn around and say Destiny. Like, not off the back of this. No. But I'm sure people will spin that into a negative thing. Legends are Man City's players do a treble, right? They're legends. That's never going to be taken away. They won a treble, right? Barcelona's players did a treble. Arsenal's Invincibles. They did the Invincibles. They're legends. I don't think
Bayern Leverkusen, what they did last season.
Right.
Yeah.
Legends.
I'm not sure the word legend. Guys, am I alone in thinking that? Anyone?
No, and United 99. Terrific. Listen,
that is how low we are. We are that low, Ian, that this, in its own messed up way, they would almost be legends, same as Ange, because of the situation we are in, for whatever reason, it would almost be legends. And that shows how low standards this club is.
Unfortunately, that's where we're
But if you want to be technically and realistically, they ain't no bloody legends. But
this is where I'm feeling at the moment. This is what the problem I have at the moment. This is the way at the moment. But listen, if we win it, I'll give him credit. I've said already that if he wins the why am I saying if we're going to win it? We are going to win it, even though it's a.
We're going to do it anyway.
You start being positive now, Mr. Box Office.
Well, no. I've been saying, but you saw Mr. Box Office TV, Savva. I've told you. I said that we're going to win it, like you. So I have said it. I said it after Frankfurt. We're going to win it because we were beating Bilbao Glint. So let's be honest here. I've been positive since then, right? I've been a happy clapper. I'm so bad. Bad. I'm a happy clapper. You know what I mean?
Isn't this the perfect example? Yeah. If anyone ever mentions Lucas Moura's name everyone's memory will straight away go to, yeah, he got the hat trick, right? If anyone ever goes, how good was he for Spurs over 4 or 5 years? You go, he was all right.
One in
Well,
six.
he was all right.
1 in 6, 2 in 6 player.
Yeah, he was all right.
I'll take more of this team right now. I'll take more of this team right now.
For sure. I'm having more right now to be our best winger.
Bloody hell, we were lucky back then.
Yeah,
but now.
He still gets remembered for what he did that night, because what he did on that one occasion was legendary. No two ways about it. But does that make him a legend full stop? No. This is where we go into the how easy or how wrong a word is used, like world class. When people call players world class now, I laugh at it, a majority of it, because I think of players 20 years ago who were tenfold better than the players that they are. Is Haaland a world-class player? Maybe in this day and age, taking back 20 years, he wouldn't be sitting there as world-class. He'd be sitting there as very good.
Bang average John Giroud, Dan, I think you'll find. Bang average.
This is where I find things very different.
No, it's
what people will call a legend is... It's, again, another word at Spurs especially that will get used to... I think the person here's just put it perfect on 12:29. Stephen, heroes, not legends. Bang on. There you go. I'm with that one.
I actually agree with my man Plasma, who I don't ever agree with. By the way, this is the same guy the other day, right, on my show. This guy, Plasma, I'm calling you out, turned around during the Palace City game and said that Pep Guardiola was an average footballer who was a water carrier. And I just went, I don't know what we're doing. Pep Guardiola was an absolute fantastic. Anyway, but I do agree with this, Plasma. I think there'll be cult heroes. And I think Sean said it the other night on my show. There will be an asterisk against this season. This season will be known for Spurs win a European trophy and have their worst ever Premier League season at the same time. And if you can put one word in the middle that sums that up, Spursy. Even when we win a European trophy, we're Spursy. 17th in the Premier League.
And I know you need to end the show soon, Savva, but
like, I've got 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I don't know what's going to happen after this, even when we win it. Because we will win it because it'd be a crap game. I still say that, but I don't know what to expect afterwards. What I do expect is this is going to be the end of Ange. I will say this, but to make this absolutely clear, to be I can't think of the word, humble, right? If he does win it, I will give him praise. He will be the second. He will be the best. Well, no, most successful manager. I have to say that most successful manager of the past 2 decades, and I will celebrate. But I still want him gone, and I will praise Daniel Levy to make everybody
happy. And I'll see you, Alex, on the high road on Friday celebrating, and Lubo will be sat there, and we'll get it out of him that he's going to give Daniel Levy his flowers. We're going to get it out of you, Lubo. We're going to get it out of you. Because you know what? We're going to do it anyway. We'll
make a Daniel Levy flag for you. We'll make a Levy flag for you.
No, let's not go too far, Dad. Don't go too far.
Dan, you're getting carried away now, mate.
Yeah. And on that note,
everybody.
Everybody.
Cheers, Alex. If I'm sat in front of the manager, chairman, and players tomorrow night, and we've won, I would say to Levy, well done, you lucky bastard. I would say to Ange, you got it right tonight, because it's all about tonight. And let's not bring a downer. And to the players, I'd look at them and think that was brilliant, well played. But I like go like this. What have they been doing all season? To go and win a European trophy, it's like, what have you been doing all season? And that's very much what I've always said. That's what I've always said. I've always said, for me, there's 3 areas of blame. Levy for not backing properly and showing commitment, Ange for not doing his job properly, and the players for playing shit most of the season.
And this is why, Lubo,
blame.
This is why, if anybody's going to tell me, you're in the mud about Ange because we win the Europa League, I'll come back to that, Rob. I'm not ignoring it, mate. I'll come back to... Actually, no, Rob, I'll do that right now. Big up to you for the... Actually, no, I'll come back to it in a minute. Anybody who comes at me tomorrow with Ange has put you in the mud. Look what he can do. He won a trophy. My only question is going to be, so we can win the Europa League whilst losing 21 league games. Sorry, the question I'm asking is, so what happened? So my question is, why did you manage to get them motivated for the Europa League, but we can't win league games? And this goes back to what Roy Keane said. And I thought what Roy Keane said was absolutely bang on the fucking money. When he said that Man U and Spurs, by the way, both of us have handled their league campaigns. It's been an absolute disgrace. The lack of effort in the games and the lack of fight. It's not like it's the Champions League. They've played lesser opposition. How have they not been able to balance it? I just don't get it. And this is why I will never turn around and say, I want this manager to stay. Because I'm sorry, the teams who've been playing, yes, you can only play those in front of you, but didn't need for us to do massive rotations every week in Europe, every weekend in the Premier League. This season, if we get next season, assuming we win it, we're in the Champions League. What are we going to do? Every Saturday or Sunday, we're going to turn around and go, oh, hang on. We got Juventus on Wednesday. Right, 5 players. Oh, wrap Van de Ven in cotton wool. Oh, we've got Inter Milan next week. Oh, Romero should not play this week. No, that's not what the clubs do. So for me, credit where it's due. Well done. I didn't think we'd win the Europa at the beginning of the season. You've surpassed my expectations. However, you've completely obliterated my low expectations I had of you in the Premier League to nearly get us relegated, right? So for me, it's yin and yang, right? And that is why if he had finished 10th, if he had finished 9th and won the Europa League, I could stomach it. Not 17th with 21 league defeats, maybe 22 league defeats. That is why I won't be in the mud if he wins this tournament. That is why none of you will be in the mud. That will just go to show that this manager can't do it in the Premier League against better opposition. Rant over.
Can I just answer Francis Reynolds, 1206? Francis Levy had some really bad advice from the so-called football experts around him. Fully agree. But you've got to want to listen to people to get on. And he doesn't listen to anybody by all accounts. They're all yes men on the board and women. So if you've got an owner that won't listen to people, that just does things his way and keeps getting it wrong, he'll carry on getting it wrong. And if he gets lucky now and again, everybody can get lucky now and again. So let's keep a perspective here. That's the problem.
No, I totally agree. In the long run, it's no different to looking at Ange. In the long run, you can say no, not good enough. But for that moment in time, you can give the credit where it's due.
Yeah, sure. I know no one will clip me saying these things about giving credit where it's due. I completely understand. People will snip the bits where I'm talking that I don't like Ange, and that will be what's flying around and toxic negative. But listen, guys, I want to do some super chats, and I do want to end the show. And I am going to chuck you all over to Jim and Kate to the perfect match. Please, they are not far off hitting 2,000. If you can get over there, smash the like button. Please subscribe to them. It really does help. Big up to SOF. My man, SOF said Spurs win. Any chance Levy looks at it and thinks 8 Premier League teams in Europe next season, most of them will struggle to handle 4 comps. Spurs go out of Champions League early, can finish in Europe. Not saying I want that. God knows what Daniel Levy's going to think. Look, I do think it's crazy now that we are possibly getting up to 8, 9, 10 teams in Europe. I think it is absolutely mental. But look, this has got to be the year, like we say every time. This has got to be the year that if we get into the Champions League, that for once, we actually do something with it. We do something with it. Go and make a statement signing. Go and buy someone that says that we all go, oh, God, I didn't think we could buy him. Do you know what I mean? I want to be wrong. Go and buy a player where I go, there you go. They will come to Spurs. Big up to you, SOF. Really appreciate you. Sanctuary of 7, my man, said, let's hope he don't give out watches to the players before the game. Maybe a Casio or 2 floating around Bilbao from some hooky dealer. Big up to you, my man. Really appreciate you, as always. Neil Govenda has said, keep it up, Savva. The best football show. Absolutely. Oh, mate, the best. Absolutely the best. Look at the guests I get for you. Only A class guests. Look at them. Lubo and Barry and that. Look Look at these sexy motherfuckers. Big up to you, Neil. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Big up to Rob Brown, who put in the super sticker. Love you, dude. Thank you so much. Also a channel member. In the summer, there'll be 2 channel member shows a week. Next season, there'll be 1 channel member show a week. I've been really bad at it this year. I do apologise. And big up to my man, Manny, the designated Hotspur. Big up to you. I'll give you a phone call later, Manny. Said, great discussion, boys. Big up Savva and Box Office. Smash the likes, everyone, and subscribe. Yes, please do, guys. We are now sitting at 210 away from 18,000. So we're getting there. If you would like and subscribe, it would be amazing. Please subscribe as well to Danny at the Hotspur Hood. And please just send Lubo and Barry abuse on X or whatever they're on. Just send them abuse. Just do it.
Don't forget, Savva, don't forget.
My manager. My manager. Oh, you're a wanker, aren't you? You really are. Big up to everybody. Guys, I'll be back 5:30 for a fan call-in show. Then at 10 to 8, we'll have Man City versus Bournemouth live Premier League watch along on FHTV2. Dan E has got a show starting at 1 p.m. as well. But when I chuck you over to Jim and Kate, please smash the subscribe button. Type in Savva Raid. Much love. Take care. If you're traveling out there, stay safe. And as always, come on.
You Spurs.
You Spurs.